comprised of 126,000 internet-connected devices across the U.S., including some that may be in your home or business. University of North Georgia cybersecurity professor Bryson Payne says devices often compromised include security cameras and routers.
So even if we don't know it, we may be part of a big botnet controlled by an adversary like China, Russia, or others.
He recommends changing any default passwords and keeping those devices updated. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Mostly sunny and warm this afternoon, headed for a high of 86. And the first day of fall is Sunday, but you're still going to need the air conditioning, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast that'll come your way at 12:05. An accused serial rapist has been arrested in Clayton County. Police tell us 27-year-old Edward Huffman drugged, sodomized, and raped multiple women over several years. Few details have been released just yet about where the alleged rapes took place. We hope to learn more at a news briefing coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so check back for updates. A reported shooting in Atlanta near the campus of Emory this morning prompted an alert to be sent out. The all clear was sounded shortly after it was issued. Happening now, students from the Morgan Oliver School here in Atlanta, it's a private school, walked out today. They were headed to the state capitol to protest gun laws in the wake of that shooting at Appalachia High in Barrow County. This student telling us,
"Now, nobody should ever give a kid a gun."
Now, administrators led the students to protest outside the Capitol, followed by a planned meeting with state senators to discuss gun laws in our state. The body of Kentucky I-75 shooting suspect Joseph Couch apparently has been located. Officials in Kentucky say they found a body that they believe is that of Couch near where those shootings happened. Fred McCoy, a retired police officer, spotted the body. He said it was based on the smell and presence of vultures in the area.
You know, it's important because everybody's been disrupted. You have a coward here that shot 5 people out here on a cliff for no reason whatsoever.
And Couch, who allegedly shot 5 people in Laurel County last weekend, had been the focus of an intense manhunt. Ever since then, officials said that those 2 state troopers and 2 civilians, one you heard there, were searching in the woods in Laurel County Wednesday when they ran into each other, and then they found that body. Tensions are increasing between Israel and Hezbollah after attacks on pagers and walkie-talkies, and Israeli airstrike today in southern Lebanon. Correspondent Cammie McCormick is following the developments.
Hezbollah's leader called the attacks on his group's communication devices a severe blow, but said they will not stop targeting Israel until the war in Gaza ends. And as tensions grow, the families of hostages held by Hamas are growing more worried about the ceasefire talks.
We hope that our leaders will choose the life of their own people over their own political survival.
The Israeli military struck Hezbollah targets in Lebanon shortly before the speech by Hassan Nasrallah. Israeli jets flew low over Beirut and broke the sound barrier.
Now, check back for updates throughout the afternoon as we continue to follow this developing story. An agreement today to make voting easier for people with disabilities in Cobb County.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in Atlanta reaches a settlement with the Cobb County Board of Elections to remove physical barriers at polling sites. Prosecutors say the changes will be made before the November election. An 8-year compliance review by the feds found numerous sites with barriers that could impact people with disabilities. Cobb officials say they'll train workers on their obligations under the Americans with Disabilities Act and ensure accessibility when selecting future polling sites. Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
The Labor Department out with new jobs numbers. What's it looking like in Georgia?
The state's unemployment rate rises 0.2% last month over the prior month to 3.6%. That's 0.6 lower than the national jobless rate. Georgia Labor Commissioner Bruce Thompson says the state's growing labor force and business-friendly economy helped Georgia maintain its top business ranking for the 11th straight year. The top 2 sectors with the most over-the-month job gains are healthcare and social assistance and private education services. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
As we take a look at the markets, the Dow's up more than 1%. NASDAQ's up more than 2.5%. The S&P's up more than 1.5%. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. We do have that red alert. Veronica Harrell in the traffic center.
Yeah, Sabrina, unfortunately still going on over in Henry County. Red alert. Crash has all lanes shut down. 75 northbound at Jonesboro Road. That's at 221. Delays stretch back before Highway 155. So use Highway 4223. Stalled motorists cleared 285 northbound the inner loop at MLK Junior Drive, exit 9. Few brake lights there. And a travel advisory because of construction 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway. It knocks out the left lane. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Now Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes. Here's WSP meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Blue skies and sunshine heating us up to a high of 86 for today. Clear and cool for tonight. Lows in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, sunny, high 88. Hotter on Saturday, morning low 66, afternoon high 89 with a sunny sky. Sunday is the first day of fall. It won't feel like it with a daytime high of 90 degrees. Monday, mostly sunny, high 87. This dry spell continues into the middle of next week.
We have 81 degrees in Atlanta. We'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All right, friends, here it is, your 5K a day bonus blitz keyword. It's win, W-I-N, win. Enter the keyword win into the WSB Radio app or go to WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 for your chance to win $1,000. Again, the keyword is win, W-I-N, win. Good luck.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. As always, you can text Eric to 33777. Get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, so much more. I would be delighted to have you. Now, I got to go back to a story from yesterday as we begin the show today because there are some updates to something that I actually think probably is the story we need to pay the most attention to. This is the ProPublica story that has been well covered by a lot of the press and is a blatant misrepresentation of the fetal heartbeat law in Georgia. And the moral of the story here is it shows how interconnected and collaborative the press and the Democrats are in seeding stories. Now, this has always been the case, but it was less noticeable when there were only three networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC, and PBS. Nowadays, there's a massive level of collaboration as ProPublica, a left-wing outlet, seeds a story and blatantly obfuscates what's actually happening. But the bigger issue here is that Republicans are always accused of lying even when they tell the truth. Democrats very often get to lie, and it's treated as the truth. And in this particular case, progressive lives have cost a woman her life. And it's the Republicans who are getting blamed. I want to begin with this from CNN. You got to hear it to believe it.
Campaign. I see in the article that a spokesperson for the Republican Governor, Brian Kemp, called the reporting kind of labeled as a fear-mongering campaign. Talk to me about that.
Well, I just think it's ironic. They also used that word fear-mongering 2 weeks before Amber Thurman died, when advocates, doctors went to court to stop the state's abortion ban and said women would suffer, women would die. They said that's fear-mongering. Two weeks later, Amber Thurman died. I also think it's ironic that this is a state board that ruled both deaths preventable, right, that answers to ultimately the governor.
That's exactly right. And that's where some of the sourcing is coming from, that you guys, as you dug into it. And I want to read one paragraph from your reporting on Amber Thurman that gets to, it's like an additional pain that is brought upon this family, even beyond her death, which is this. For years, all Thurman's family had was a death certificate that said she died of septic shock and retained products of conception, a rare description that had previously only appeared once in Georgia death records over the last 15 years, ProPublica found. The family learned Thurman's case had been reviewed and deemed preventable from ProPublica's reporting.
This is Kate Baldwin at CNN with a progressive reporter from ProPublica perpetuating the lie that got this woman killed. The blood is actually on their hands, not the hands of Republicans in Georgia. You need to understand this. What is the fear-mongering that they were talking about at the beginning? The fear-mongering that the Republicans said would happen. The talking point from progressives was that if Georgia's law passed, people wouldn't be able to get abortions in the state. They wouldn't be able to get treatment for ectopic pregnancies, and they wouldn't be able to have a D&C. They wouldn't be able to have any of these sorts of things. None of that was true. The law in Georgia is actually very clear. In fact, Patricia Murphy is a writer at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution who the other day essentially said the law's not working the way the Republicans said it would. It needs to be less ambiguous. It's not actually an ambiguous law. What's actually happening is that reporters, and progressive activists, but I repeat myself, have lied so much about the law. People like this woman, Ms. Thurman, believed the lies from the left. They believed the fear-mongering. It's very clear in the record now from ProPublica's own reporting that this lady believes she wouldn't be able to get a DNC in Georgia after she went to North Carolina to have an abortion. She couldn't make it in time for her appointment due to traffic, so they gave her the abortion drugs. She took one of the pills there and was supposed to take a second pill at home, which she did. It partially aborted the child, but there were remnants of the fetal tissue that remained. It caused pain and bleeding and other things, and apparently she was convinced they would not give her a DNC, not because of the law, but because of the lies told by the left. And so she delayed treatment. She got sepsis. She wound up dying. The law did not cause her to die. The lies told by progressives and by reporters at CNN and in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and in the Washington Post and in the New York Times and among progressive activists and among Democratic politicians, those lies got this lady killed. She believed their lies. The law had nothing to do with it, but they can't admit it was their lies, so they must blame Brian Kemp and the laws of the state of Georgia. The law of the state of Georgia was actually very clear. Contrary to the opinion writers at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the law is extremely clear. If a child has a heartbeat, the child cannot be aborted. If it's an ectopic pregnancy, if it's a medical emergency, and ectopic pregnancies, among other things, are listed as emergencies in the law, then you can have an abortive procedure. You can have a DNC. In this case, there was no heartbeat, so obviously a procedure could be done. But the lady believed the lies, and so now they're like, oh, the law's ambiguous. The law is not ambiguous. You lied. CNN, you lied, and a lady died. And I do want to say to CNN, which still has operations in Atlanta where I'm broadcasting from, and I know a lot of reporters listen to me. Your coverage helped cause this lady's death, not the law, because you lied not only about the law, you lied about the drug. You at CNN, your reporters lied. Do you know that the drugs they give, the abortifacient drugs, 1 in 300 people who take them have serious complications, including death? One of the talking points has been that the drug's as safe as Tylenol. If 1 in 300 people were dying from Tylenol, would you take Tylenol? If 1 in 300 people died from Advil, would you take Advil? In fact, what happened is that the FDA strictly regulated these medicines until Obama came into office and progressive lobbyists freed it up. In fact, prior to Obama, you couldn't even take these drugs if you were more than 7 weeks pregnant. But Obama increased the term and made it more widely available. At a 9-week pregnancy, it's actually fairly common for this drug to cause parts of fetal tissue to be left behind, requiring a DNC. Now you add the lie spread by, hello, if there's anyone from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution listening right now, I want you to know your lies actually contributed to this woman's death because your reporters also claimed the law could prohibit, or that, opponents of the law say, you didn't want to say it yourselves, you used opponents of the law say this could happen. And this woman clearly believed the lies, but now you're blaming Brian Kemp and you're blaming the Republicans, you're blaming the law, because God forbid reporters ever blame themselves for helping seed lies to the public. The people at CNN, the reporters at CNN, Kate Baldwin at CNN, in this reporting, the fear-mongering that she's talking about was the fear-mongering where Republicans said the law is very clear. You can get a DNC. If you have an ectopic pregnancy, you can have an abortion. The law is very clear. And the Democrats and progressives said, no, it's not. No, it's not. Women could die because they won't be able to have an abortion. The lies. This woman believed the lie. She waited a long time to go to the hospital. She wound up dying. That was not the law. The law was crystal clear. It was the lies that she believed that delayed her going to the hospital. And you people on the left, you people at CNN, you people at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, her blood is actually on your hands, not Brian Kemp's hands. Her death is actually on your lies that you help perpetuate, not on the law. But you'll never hold yourselves accountable. I know that. You're upset about J.D. Vance and the stupid story about the pets in Springfield, Ohio. And you're willing to say J.D. Vance seeding the story caused the hoaxes at the schools. You yourselves convinced a woman that she shouldn't go to the hospital to get treated with a D&C after abortion pills. Your reporting, you people in the press, your reporting on the abortion bill made people think it was actually very safe, when actually 1 in 300 people who take it have serious complications, including death. If 1 in 300 people in America were dying because of Tylenol, you know damn well, you people at CNN, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the New York Times, you'd be beside yourselves demanding the government pull the medicine from the shelves. But because this is abortion and you people worship at the cult of abortion, you decided to say 1 in 300 people, that's not much at all. It's insignificant. This medicine is as safe as Tylenol. Your lies did this. And I want to be very, very specific about the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Here in my city, Atlanta, Georgia, helped perpetuate the lies. Kamala Harris has helped perpetuate the lies. CNN has helped perpetuate the lies. The New York Times has helped perpetuate the lies. And a woman has died because of it, and their response is to blame the Republicans, not themselves. You people want to lecture the rest of us on truth, misinformation, and disinformation, and you are the ones who seeded the misinformation and the disinformation. You are the ones who perpetuated it because you wanted the fear campaign. You wanted the fear-mongering because you hoped it would kill the legislation. And when it didn't kill the legislation, you hoped if you continued to perpetuate the fear-mongering that you could actually do damage to the Republicans. Instead, what you've done damage to is women's health. And you can't hold yourselves accountable because you are arrogant. You can't hold yourselves accountable because abortion trumps everything else. You can't hold yourself accountable because your hatred of Republicans has allowed you to perpetuate the lies. This woman died, and your reaction is to say it's the Republicans' fault. The Republicans were very honest about what the law did. The Republicans were very honest about the treatments covered under the law. The Republicans were very honest about the treatment you could get under the law. And what did you do? You continued to do broad coverage of some critics say that actually the law wouldn't allow this. This progressive, pro-abortion doctor actually says that's not true. Who should we believe? The people who wrote the law or the doctor who's pushing a pro-abortion agenda? A woman's dead. More women are going to die. It's not going to be because of the law. Because the law is very clear. Ectopic pregnancies, you can have an abortion. D&Cs, perfectly fine. The law is very clear. What is not clear is the muddied waters you people in the press pursued to scare people about the legislation. And that muddied water that you pursued and the talking points of the left are what got this woman killed. ProPublica, her blood's on your hands. You, again, are one of the outlets that continue to lie about this and fearmonger about this, and you're scaring women out of getting treatment at the hospital. It's not the law that's the problem. It's the way you arrogant people in the press have decided that abortion trumps everything, Republicans are terrible, and you will lie and obfuscate and scare people out of getting medical treatment so that you can then have those people die and run the salacious stories to attack the Republicans and attack people like Brian Kemp. I want you people at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, CNN, the New York Times, ProPublica, the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, I want you all to understand that while you sleep at night blaming Brian Kemp and the Republicans in Georgia for this woman's death, it was actually your lies that did it because she believed your lies. And when you sleep well at night saying, oh, Erickson's just a partisan hack, I want you to understand something else. There will come a final day, whether you believe it or not, and you will stand in judgment before your Creator, and He will remember the lies that you told, and He will remember you did it to advance a partisan agenda, and you will be held accountable, not by me, not by anyone else, but by the divine God Almighty, because your lies cost a woman her life, and you can't accept the blame for your false reporting, your misreporting, and your disinformation. You would rather blame Republicans to score partisan points. That will be remembered.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1220 in the Cool Rate Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news now with the crash over on 75 northbound at Jonesboro Road, exit 221. Now only a right lane is blocked. Still, you're dealing with tough delays trying to make your way through Henry County. As a matter of fact, delays stretch back before Highway 155. This report brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Learn more about their support of common threads and nutrition education at anthem.com/dream. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthcare Plan of Georgia, Inc. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
All right, friends, here it is, your 5K a day bonus blitz keyword. It's win, W-I-N, win. Enter the keyword win into the WSB Radio app or go to WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 for your chance to win $1,000. Again, the keyword is win, W-I-N, win. Good luck.
The Fed is signaling the interest rates could come back down in September. Now's the time to call MyLend. This is Scott Slade. It's a great time to get your application in line and ready for when the rates do drop. MyLend has several loan programs to help you access the equity in your home. And many of MyLend's clients are using their equity to consolidate debts or make home improvements. Whether it's a kitchen or a basement remodel, MyLend can show you the best way to use your equity to your advantage. When you involve something as important as your home, you want the best local company to work with. That's why I choose MyLend. MyLend's helped thousands of Atlanta homeowners just like you save the most amount of money with their mortgage. In fact, their average customer saves over $700 a month. Call MyLend. 770-817-2000, 770-817-2000, or online at mylend.com, spelled it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage Licensee 148769, located at 8995 Westside Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLend is an equal housing lender.
Is it possible that you've wondered, what could I get for my house? Or, with interest rates about to come down, I wonder if this is a good time to move. Or, I heard there's some big change with real estate commissions. What's the deal with that? Hi, I'm Deborah Morton, founder of Clario Real Estate and the host of Inside Georgia Real Estate, airing here Saturdays at 1 p.m. If you are thinking of buying or selling a home in the Atlanta area, my team and I are the experts. We've helped hundreds of families move, and we've seen it all. At Clario Real Estate, we can provide clarity in real estate for you. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com and tune in this Saturday at 1 p.m. That's InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. Ask a question. Ask for the real value of your home. Ask how to sell or buy a home. Clario Real Estate. Real clarity, real certainty for the real value of your home.
Having trouble finding your stuff? Really? It was right here yesterday. Dave Baker here for Spacemakers Custom Closets. I'm a slob. That all changed, though, when the designers at Spacemakers Custom Closets came out to my house for a free in-home consultation. It took less than an hour for us to come up with a plan that helped me organize my garage. Inside tip, they do more than garages. They also do closets and pantries and more. Schedule your free in-home consultation now at spacemakersclosets.com. Spacemakers Custom Closets, an artisan family brand.
1877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Scott Slade here. You know, when we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual Imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Okay, I gotta tell you, I love this story because of just the virtue signaling of it. Democrats these days love to virtue signal. So Warren Buffett lives in Omaha, Nebraska. Does not actually live in a super fancy house in Omaha, Nebraska. This nice suburban area. His neighbors, they're all in the 2nd Congressional District. That congressional district leans left. They call themselves independent. They're actually pretty progressive in that one little district in Omaha. In fact, in Nebraska, they break out their electoral college votes, so each congressional district has its own points, and there's a movement afoot to reunite it, so if you win Nebraska, you win all of its electoral college votes instead of like one vote going away in the 2nd Congressional District. Well, the neighborhood has decided to put out signs, just a white sign with a blue dot. A blue dot. It's a way of saying the Democrats live in this part of Nebraska. And they're really hoping Warren Buffett will put one in his yard. His daughter has 2. These signs. You know, the virtue signaling on all this, everybody's got to have a billboard in their yard now. You know, in this house, we believe love is love and hate has no home. And we believe in science except when it comes to gender. Now they got to put a blue dot in their yard just so people know we're one of the righteous. It really is kind of funny to me that this whole virtue signaling of the we're not alone stuff. I don't understand. Like, I don't put bumper stickers on my car. I don't put signs in my yard. I refuse to put a virtue signal sign in my yard, put a bumper sticker. I don't even put a bumper sticker on my car for my kid's school. Who cares? I don't understand the people who got to have bumper stickers over to define yourself. Live your life and live by example, and people will get to know who you are. This I must show that I am one of the righteous. I must put a sign in my yard. No. But they sure are. They're whipped into frenzy, and they want validation by having Warren Buffett put one in his yard. Tells you everything you need to know about these people, how shallow they are. Now, and also how they've made religion their god. Instead of putting blood above the threshold of their door, no, they got to put a blue dot in their yard so that Trump might pass over them. Now, I got to tell you about Hillsdale College. They would love to have a relationship with you. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com, you, my friends, can sign up with Hillsdale College, and in the process, you can get great things for free, like Imprimis. You get Imprimis, you can get the Hillsdale College Podcast Network in your favorite podcasting app. Just look for it. You can get their lecture series on citizenship, on the early constitutional republic and the Constitutional Convention. You get it all. And no cost to you, because Hillsdale College has had this mission since the 1800s to deliver education, not indoctrination, to the United States. They do it K through 12 and college as well. All you have to do is go to Eric, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Start your relationship with Hillsdale College today. Get Imprimis delivered to your mailbox for free. Get the podcast network for free. All you do, go to Eric, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Start a great relationship with Hillsdale College today. ericforhillsdale.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Are you being used by China and not even aware of it? The FBI and NSA issuing an advisory after finding over 125,000 internet-connected devices were compromised and used for surveillance by the Chinese government. Federal officials say infected devices included routers, security camera network storage devices, and more. Bryson Payne is a cybersecurity professor at the University of North Georgia. He says you want to make sure that you always change your password when bringing home a new device.
If you left that default password there, they're able to log into that device from China or from any place else on the globe as easily as you can log into it from your home.
He says it's often impossible to know whether your device has been compromised. He suggests updating your devices frequently and installing any new security updates. Mostly sunny and warm this afternoon, headed for a high of 86, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. The U.S. Attorney's Office here in Atlanta reaching a settlement with the Cobb County Board of Elections to remove physical barriers at polling sites. Prosecutors say that the changes will be made before the November election. An 8-year compliance review of the feds found numerous sites with barriers that could impact people with disabilities. Cobb officials say that they will train workers on their obligations under the Americans with Disabilities Act and ensure accessibility when selecting future polling sites. Hourly workers at Amazon getting a boost in pay, $1.50 more an hour starting this month. That puts the average base pay at more than $22 an hour. In addition to the pay increase, they're also going to get Amazon Prime service for free. Amazon says the $2.2 billion investment in pay and benefits is the company's largest ever. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow is up more than 1%, NASDAQ's up more than 2.5%, and the S&P's up almost 2%. It's actually 1232.
I've been forecasting sunshine for you for 40 years. Hi, it's meteorologist Glenn Burns, and now I'm excited with the sunshine inside my home. It's bigger and brighter thanks to my Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows. They're not big and bulky like vinyl composite windows. Fiberglass is stronger with narrower frames that brighten your home with more daylight and bigger views.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
For nearly 50 years, Shane Company has been Atlanta's most trusted family jeweler. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring. Shane Company has the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple created a truly unique ring by choosing a blue sapphire that matched her eyes. Atlanta, come check us out. You just might fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
If your home's AC system hobbled through the summer, listen up as I'm about to save you some money. Hi, this is Daniel Jape from Jape Services. Industry regulations are changing at the end of the year, and all heating and cooling systems will see a price increase. Get your system up to future standards now and beat that price increase. Plus, with up to $3,000 in incentives and 0% financing, you can get comfortable now and pay later. Schedule at japeservices.com.
Jape Services.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Veronica Harrell.
Right now, travel advisory because of construction. 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway. It knocks out the left lane, causing delays. Avoid the backups by using Duluth Highway, Highway 120. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny today, high 86. Clear for tonight, lows in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 88. Even hotter for this weekend. Saturday's high 89. Sunday will reach 90 degrees.
It is 78 degrees in Monroe, 79 in Tucker, 80 in Marietta. We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Hello there, welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across the United States of America. I need to take you in the Wayback Machine, but not that far back. Just to last week. To what day last week was it? It was last Friday, so almost a week ago, pretty much a week ago. I want to read for you something that I wrote then. Dear Mr. Trump, I have maintained that were the election held today, you would win the election. Kamala Harris is just an extension of the deeply unpopular Biden-Harris administration. A majority of Americans do not like you, but they prefer your administration's policies. The electorate is angry and frustrated. An angry and frustrated electorate does not preserve the status quo, which is Ms. Harris. For the next 50 days, you need to skip the national press. Go instead to Springfield, Ohio. Spend time with WHIO, the highly regarded TV station there. Forget the rumors of people eating pets. Just remind people that Kamala Harris has been on the job for 3.5 years and has not done anything she says she will do in the future. Talk about the high cost of groceries. Talk about the city being overwhelmed with immigrants. Highlight the issue, then hit the road. Go to middle American cities and swing states and spend time with the local stations. I wrote that a week ago. Donald Trump is going to Springfield, Ohio. He's going to go talk to people about the actual issues. He's also going to go to Aurora, Colorado, and talk about the gangs taking over the apartment complex there.
I'm going to Springfield and I'm going to Aurora. You may never see me again, but that's okay. Got to do what I got to do. Whatever happens, I'm going to Springfield and I'm going to...
There you go. He's going to Springfield, going to Aurora. May never see him again. Might get eaten by the Haitians. You never know. But he's going. Now, what's so funny to me is that the city manager in Springfield, Ohio, and the mayor, they're like, please don't come here. We're going to be overwhelmed. We don't have the resources. Why exactly are they going to be overwhelmed without resources for a former president of the United States to come through? Because the immigrants have taxed the capacity of the city. This is good. This is good, Trump. This is the sort of stuff he needs to do. Now, avoid the cats and dogs. He's not going to be, let's just be honest here, he's not going to be able to not make a crack about the pets being eaten in Springfield, but that's okay, as long as he focuses on the larger issue. They are overwhelmed, and he can say, they told us not to come because they're overwhelmed. Why are they overwhelmed? They're overwhelmed because of all these immigrants that have been dropped on a city in just a couple of years. They're going to be overwhelmed. Scott Jennings was on CNN the other night, and he was deeply frustrated by the unwillingness of so many people in the press and in the Democratic Party to even be willing to acknowledge how cities are overwhelmed and flooded. And they did not want to give him a word edgewise when it came to talking about that particular issue on CNN. It's Hillary Rosen, who's fantastic. I disagree. Look, I disagree with Hillary. Again, she and I have a cordial relationship. I don't think there's an issue she and I see eye to eye on. But I noticed that she was just unwilling to acknowledge that there was a problem. And time again, when this issue comes up, what happens is the Democrats out there are like, oh, we can't talk about this issue. Donald Trump's lying. He's gonna harm people. He's gonna get people killed. And it's like, why can't you talk about the issue? Why can't you talk about just the amount of people being airdropped into a city? 20,000 people. Listen to some of this exchange.
I do think it's an important conversation. How are they here legally? Because of executive action on immigration. I don't believe it is an attack on
immigrants.
Are you saying they don't have a right to? They
or
shouldn't be
race.
here when they're
Do you not agree
essentially
with temporary
saving the
protected
town?
status? Do you know what temporary protected status is, and do you not agree with it?
No, I think most Republicans do not believe that the executive branch or the officers of it should be able to wave what J.D. Vance correctly calls a magic wand so people can circumvent the normal immigration process.
You have the mayor and the governor saying that these businesses needed workers.
Temporary protected status has been around for a long
And it's
time.
been granted by
Democratic,
Republican
Republican,
Ohio
Republican
businesses
presidents and
needed
Democratic
workers.
presidents.
Most Americans think we need less immigration, not more. Most Americans think we need a process, and there is a
That's true.
legitimate
Those two things are
there is
true.
a legitimate conversation to be had about how cities on the border, in Ohio, in New York, and everywhere else are being expected to absorb large populations. That doesn't mean the populations are inherently bad, or the people are inherently bad, or that they don't
But
provide
he's saying
value.
they're inherently
But when
bad,
you-
and
but
that's
when
the
you-
point.
But when you put huge numbers of people in communities and they begin to have impacts on the policing system, the healthcare system, the roads, whatever, the school, whatever it is, and then you just say to the communities, good luck. I think Americans have a right to a debate about this, and this is what the Democrats don't want to have.
Exactly. Well said, Scott Jennings. Exactly. The Democrats don't want to have the debate. They want to call you a racist. They want to call you a racist. This is where Donald Trump needs to put the spotlight because it's happening across the country. The amount of people who are being dropped in, and now we know, by the way, we know from whistleblowers that one of the things the Biden administration did was they started reclassifying illegal aliens coming into this country to try to reduce the numbers of illegal aliens crossing. So they revised it in such a way that it made it look like less illegal aliens were coming. They were still coming. They just reclassified the people who were coming. It's a real issue. There was a whistleblower, a former ICE official who testified in Congress just the other day saying that he was specifically instructed he wasn't allowed to talk about the numbers. He wasn't allowed to because the Democrats have engaged in a cover-up. Now, here's the other thing. This gets back to my earlier point on the media and the blood on their hands carrying water for the left on the lies about abortion and fetal heartbeat laws in Georgia. They've lied about this as well. If a Republican were rearranging the data and obfuscating the data on immigration, the media would hold them accountable. But so much of the coverage of the press is about stopping Donald Trump. He is their existential threat. They will destroy their own credibility to stop Donald Trump. If Donald Trump were engaging in this sort of cover-up, the media would call him out immediately. In a heartbeat, they would call him out. But because it's Joe Biden who's engaged in this cover-up, this obfuscation, this rigging of the data, he gets a pass. He gets a pass. A mother in Georgia, in her 20s, was killed the other day in a car crash with an illegal alien who was driving drunk in a souped-up Dodge Charger. And, you know, I need to bring this back up because I'm pulling up this story. Give me a second. Yep. Mother of 3 killed. 1-year-old critically injured. Head-on DUI crash. The Dodge Charger was a red-eye edition. A souped-up Dodge Charger, red-eye edition, tends to cost, well, I'm looking right now, Kelley Blue Book, $95,000 for a new Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat red-eye. $95,000. This was a Charger edition, a souped-up 797 horsepower. That's a very expensive car. A used 2022 is $79,000 right now. It's a very expensive car. How did an illegal immigrant who had a hold from Immigration and Customs have a car that expensive? Let's say though, let's just for the sake of argument, let's say the car was $40,000. How did an illegal immigrant in the United States with a hold from ICE have a $40,000 car? Given the model, it's probably much more expensive than that. Had a hold. ICE was looking for the guy. DUI car chase in Rome, Georgia. 2 women killed, a 1-year-old critically injured. One of the women killed had 3 children. This is happening around the country. And what the Biden administration has decided to do instead of dealing with the problem is they've told ICE agents, you're not allowed to talk about the data. And then through the Border Patrol app, they've allowed people to come into the country in ways that then bypass being classified as an illegal alien released into the country. And it makes it look like their numbers have gone down. And now, you know, what they're this is a conversation between Ron Brownstein and Jessica Yellen at the Atlantic Festival. This is their latest spin on we can't get rid of the illegals now that they're here.
Would that, there's been a lot of debate about whether that would relieve pressure on prices or removing that many workers, particularly from agricultural and construction. What would that mean, in your view, for inflation?
Well, I think it would raise inflation. These workers have contributed to America's ability to produce more goods, including agricultural goods. And this influx we've seen since the pandemic, and it's not only through immigration, it's also we're seeing the highest labor force participation on record for adult women. The influx of workers into the labor market is something that's helped to bring down inflation and create a lot of jobs.
You got that? Now, we can't actually get rid of the illegal immigrants in this country because they're helping bring down inflation now. So are you acknowledging that that was actually your plan, that was your intention, that that's how you decided to beat inflation, was to bring in illegal aliens? With that sort of spin, you know, it is actually increasingly obvious that it means that they have no intention of ever getting rid of these people. In fact, they have no intention of closing the border. That was their plan. Janet Yellen essentially admitting that Biden's way of bringing down inflation was allowing mass illegal immigration into this country, including the gang members, including the cartels, including the human traffickers. It's what they wanted to do. And now that they're here, they're like, oh, we can't mass deport. That would be cruel. That would cause inflation. Why can we not get out of this country the illegal aliens that aren't supposed to be here in the first place? The Democrats refuse to answer that. This is an issue so ripe for campaigning on. Forget the cats and dogs. This is the issue. This is the issue. And the Democrats, frankly, should be hanged on their own words that, no, we can't get rid of the illegal immigrants. It would be bad for our economy. It's bad for our economy that they're here to begin with. Americans for Prosperity has common sense conservative solutions to secure the border and to remove the illegal aliens in an orderly manner from this country without wrecking the economy. It's common sense conservative solutions from Americans for Prosperity. You can sign up with them, join their chapters, or they've got chapters in every state. Go to americansforprosperity.org/volunteer. They'll give you the information to be the most informed member of your circle of friends. They'll give you the great conservative free market information to talk to your local government or your state government about advancing freedom for families in this country, for helping small businesses. They'll make you an activist, a very credible activist, where you'll be able to go door to door to your neighbors and convince them common sense conservatism is right for them. You'll even teach how to register people to vote. They've got chapters in almost every state. They're the largest leading grassroots activist group in the country. All you have to do is go to americansforprosperity.org/Eric. Americansforprosperity.org americansforprosperity.org/volunteer, not Eric. Americansforprosperity.org/volunteer. Sign up with them. Get involved as we fight for free markets, free people, and freedom in this country.
He'll do the research and give it to you straight. Erick Erickson is live every weekday.
1250 in the Cool Rate Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still dealing with that travel advisory because of construction. 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway. It knocks out the left lane. Avoid the delays by using Duluth Highway, Highway 120. This report brought to you by the Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Hartford Small Business Insurance offers insurance solutions to fit your needs. Learn more about the Hartford Small Business Insurance and why over 1 million small business owners trust them. Visit thehartford.com/small business. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
on 95.5 WSB.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman of the Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, whether we want to be or not, we are all wrapped up with this presidential election. But what, if any, effect should that have on our current and future financial planning?
You got to go back to your plan. Your plan is very individualized. We will create something around what works for you and your family and your needs. And we'll cover and we'll check the boxes on the Democrats, the Republicans, the tax changes, Social Security impact, etc. We are watching all of those metrics and those topics extremely close so that you don't have to. So tamp down your political belief and let us just present to you a full financial plan. And yes, for the next 4 years, 8 years, 20 years of your life, we're going to have to move around as tax brackets change, as Social Security payments may be impacted. Nobody has pensions anymore, so as pensions kind of wane and fall away, we need something to replace them. But there are some things that we certainly pay attention to on the political landscape, but that political landscape is one piece of many. So there are many metrics we're looking at. The election's a heated topic and very interesting to talk about, but it has to have its proper place. It does not take front and center in our decisions to invest or our plans. That's having a vision for if this goes this way or this way, we need to be prepared for either scenario. That's where the Replace My Paycheck Challenge and having a deep income discussion with our advisory team could serve everybody very well.
Go ahead. Take the Replace My Paycheck Challenge today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
At City of Hope, we are driven to stop lung cancer, to respond to its every change, its every mutation with a new treatment approach, to meet the most complex cases with the latest innovations, to analyze cancer down to its DNA, then fight it with the newest surgical, radiation, and immunotherapies, to never give up, so you can be driven by hope. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
When is the last time you paid less but got more in return? It happens every day if you or a loved one has Medicare Advantage. $0 copays and an average of $2,500 less out of pocket annually, but more benefits like dental, hearing, and vision. More prevention and screenings to keep people healthy. More care for less money. No wonder 33 million seniors choose Medicare Advantage. Visit MedicareAdvantageMajority.org to learn more. Paid for by Medicare Advantage Majority.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Now.
Welcome. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you need a loan for your business, and what sort of loan? We're talking about heavy equipment loan. You're buying a franchise. You're buying out a business partner or competitor. That's the sort of things First Liberty does. They've been making their own decisions since the 90s, and they help businesses in all 50 states, and they're willing to consider helping your business. All you need to do is go to firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com, and check them out, get their contact info, just spend a little bit with them. Tell them I sent you. FirstLibertyGA.com. All right, I got to follow up on what is being called by this particular thread Operation Grim Beeper. Oh my gosh, the names write themselves. So here's something I didn't know. But now, and I see other military experts confirming this as well, that maiming the Hezbollah operatives was actually preferable to killing them all, because killing them allows efficiency of resources for Hezbollah. They're dead. You don't need to worry about taking care of them. You don't need to worry about trying to get them back in. You just go find more people. With the dead, you got to wait, assess, take care of them, or cut them off, let them go. That could cause grievances. It becomes much more complicating to have them maimed and have to take care of them than to have them dead and be able to move on. And my goodness, yeah. So the mass maiming of Hezbollah is actually an interesting side effect of this, but also the level of intrigue by Israel in all the component parts. So think about this. We now know that the organization from which Hezbollah procured the pagers was an Israeli shell company run out of Hungary that produced the parts in Taiwan. So Israel controlled Hezbollah's supply chain, and Hezbollah did not even know it. That's just remarkable. It was extremely well targeted, and we've still got people on the left outraged by it, that Israel was able to pull it off. How dare they? It's also probably going to sow a lot of distrust between Hezbollah and the Iranian leadership that funds it, given the fact that, well, Hezbollah made a sloppy choice in who its pagers came from. And if the pagers ran through Iran, as a number of press reports have claimed, then it's going to plant doubt in the minds of the Lebanese leadership about the reliability of the Iranian systems. Because remember, the old leader of Hamas got blown up in Tehran. So if Israel has compromised Iran that much, it's going to compromise Hezbollah's trust in Iran. It just the complete disintegration of the Hezbollah operation there. They've even, like the leader of Hezbollah has now admitted that Israel has critically wounded Hezbollah and has the upper hand right now. Now, the Americans are freaking out. Does this mean Israel's going to invade Lebanon now? Actually, what the Israeli sources are saying is that, no, this is... Hezbollah has launched thousands of rockets since October 8th of last year, forcing 70,000 Israelis out of their homes to be refugees in southern Israel. They want to be able to go home, so you stop firing the rockets now and call it a day. But Hezbollah, I don't know that they're capable of doing that. I don't know if they're capable of doing anything at this point. Operation Grim Beeper turns out to have been a great success. When we come back, we got to talk politics, raw politics. It is a tied race out there between Harris and Trump. I'll bring you the latest details.
Sneezing, coughing, stuffy nose, runny nose, post-nasal drip, interrupted sleeping. I was groggy at the end of the day.
Allergies and sinus congestion were making Jana miserable. Then, a friend recommended Navage. Navage provides immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Navage helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
Navage gave me instant relief. I didn't have to wait 30 minutes. I didn't have to wait an hour, 90 minutes. I didn't have to wait a minute. I ran the rinse and I felt better.
Stop suffering from congestion and start breathing and feeling your best again with Navage. Navage.
I've had people ask me how I find relief, and I tell them Navage immediately. This thing is amazing.
Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by HipNation. A warning for consumers today after federal law enforcement officials discover thousands of devices are compromised by the Chinese government.
The FBI and NSA say they've shut down a botnet controlled by China, comprised of 126,000 internet-connected devices across the U.S., including some that may be in your home or business. University of North Georgia cybersecurity professor Bryson Payne says devices often compromised include security cameras and routers.
So even if we don't know it, we may be part of a big botnet controlled by an adversary like China, Russia, or others.
He recommends changing any default passwords and keeping those devices updated. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
It's going to be mostly sunny this afternoon and warm, headed for a high of 86, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. We have an update on election 2024. Tomorrow, the Georgia Election Board will make a decision on sweeping rule changes when it comes to the election, including proposals to hand count ballots and require absentee ballot tracking that could cost about $4 per voter. All of this less than a month before early voting gets underway. People with disabilities will have an easier time voting in Cobb County.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in Atlanta reaches a settlement with the Cobb County Board of Elections. It resolves a multi-year compliance review which found physical barriers at many polling sites. Changes will be made in time for this November's election. A review will ensure accessibility for all future polling sites. Poll workers will be trained on their obligations under the Americans with Disabilities Act. The 8-year review looked at more than 50 polling locations in Cobb through 3 election cycles. Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
An accused serial rapist is arrested in Clayton County. Police say 27-year-old Edward Huffman drugged, sodomized, and raped multiple women over several years. We have few details about that have been released this afternoon about where these alleged rapes took place. We hope to learn more at a news briefing next hour. Check back for updates on that story. The Atlanta-based CDC releasing data this afternoon that shows overdose deaths are down, but they are still higher than before the pandemic. Overdose deaths are at the lowest we've seen in 3 years. New CDC data showing the estimated number of deaths from overdosing in the past year fell to just over 100,000. That's still higher again than the pandemic. Fentanyl accounting for a majority of those overdose deaths nationwide. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow right now is currently up 514 points at 42,018. So the Dow is up more than 1%. NASDAQ's up more than 2.5%, and the S&P's up almost 2%. It's 102.
3 reasons to put Rhino-Shield on your home this month.
It's the ultimate exterior paint backed by a 25-year warranty, so you won't think about painting the house again for over 2 decades. It goes on any surface and comes in any color, and you'll save even more when you act now by the end of the month for an extra 10% off and no payments until next year.
Say what? Next year and 10% off?
Yes, Roxanne, we talked about this.
All right, go to RhinoShieldGA.com now for 10% off. RhinoShieldGA.com.
Most pest control companies no longer treat inside your home, but those that do are spraying your baseboards. That's ridiculous. Bugs enter your home through cracks and crevices, not baseboards. Dave Baker here. Switch to Breda Pest Management for their Triple P process. Precision placement of product. Breda treats the cracks and crevices where bugs actually get in. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Scott Slade here. You know, when we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Y'all, it's Eric Erickson. Sell your home for maximum value. Skip the hassle with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses. The best part, no stress. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. markspain.com.
You could win a chance to ride in a race car with a professional driver at Road Atlanta. Go behind the scenes of the Matul Petit Le Mans. Walk inside the paddocks, meet the teams, and feel what it's like to race on the track. Visit WSBRadio.com for rules and to enter for your chance to win.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell's in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And right now, issuing a travel advisory over in Marietta. Got a tractor-trailer crash is over on 75 southbound before you get to the South 120 loop exit 263. You got up to 2 to 3 right lanes knocked out, causing tough delays. Go ahead and use Highway 41. Elsewhere, dealing with delays downtown, 75, 85 north and south, and over on 75 northbound at Jonesboro Road, exit 221. The crash is cleared. Still watching delays out of Locust Grove. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 86, clear for tonight, lows in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 88. Even hotter for this weekend, Saturday's high 89. Sunday will reach 90 degrees.
81 degrees in Woodstock. It's 81 in Lilburn. In Ackworth, it's 82 degrees. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
My fellow Americans, it is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. I'm delighted to have you with me. We got a lot to cover in this hour. I am happy to take your phone calls as well. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. If you text ARMY, A-R-M-Y, to 33777 and follow that link that comes through to you, you can put in your first name, last name, email address, and zip code so that we know where you live in the country so we can reach out to you as we begin our global tour of domination. I want to talk raw politics with you right now. I just was pulling this up. The New York Times in a college poll is out. Good pollster in off years, not as good in presidential election years, but still pretty good. They've got a tied race. The Real Clear Politics polling average has Kamala Harris up 1.9%. That actually gives Donald Trump the lead because of the Electoral College. Kamala Harris needs to be over 3 points in the polling average to actually be dominant in the race. Now, in the swing state top battlegrounds, the polling average is 0.1 of 1 percentage point. Donald Trump is up in Georgia and North Carolina, barely in North Carolina, and up in Arizona. The Trump campaign feels, based on their internal polling, that actually in Nevada, they're doing very well. In fact, let me play you, if I can find it now, this audio. Who was it? I think it was CBS News. Went to Las Vegas. Yes, and tried to find some Kamala Harris supporters in restaurants in Las Vegas.
We had so much fun. But what was really incredible is in every single restaurant of the people willing to talk to us, we could only find one Harris supporter in every restaurant. And we left no stone unturned. I approached every single person.
That's in Las Vegas. Could only find one Harris supporter. They went everywhere looking for a Harris supporter. They couldn't find one. Let me go to a broader picture here. Both campaigns have played their hand rather poorly. Donald Trump, when Joe Biden was still in the race and Democrats were trying to push him out, was convinced Biden would not get out and chose a legacy pick of a vice president, J.D. Vance, who, if anything, hurt him in the polling, didn't help him in the polling. And even if helped him somewhat, came from a state that's not in play and did not help put a single state in play. And then Kamala Harris, who needs to win Pennsylvania, responded by picking Tim Walz, a man who hurt her instead of helping her, and might have cost her Pennsylvania, a must-win state for Kamala Harris. And her campaign is now conceding, based on their internal polling, that Pennsylvania is moving out of reach. If Donald Trump wins Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, that's the whole game. He gets 270 Electoral College votes. But currently, in North Carolina, there are several brewing scandals about the Republican nominee for governor there, Mark Robinson. And his campaign has now canceled all events with the Trump campaign and canceled all of their other campaign events. They're not responding to the press. There are rumors that he may be trying an exit strategy from the race as a scandal begins to plague him. He was never well vetted, and if you depress Republican turnout in North Carolina over a gubernatorial seat, you could depress potentially turnout at slim margins, but enough margins to cost Trump the presidency. Mark Robinson was always a bad pick in North Carolina, and Donald Trump chose to endorse him and drove all the good candidates out of the race, and now it could blow up in his face. In fact, the Harris campaign is saying they believe they have a path through North Carolina that they did not actually think existed some time ago, and that's going to be problematic. North Carolina has 16 Electoral College votes, just like Georgia has 16 Electoral College votes. If North Carolina were to go to Kamala Harris, that would get her, with Pennsylvania still being the swing state out there, could get her 269 Electoral College votes. She just need one more. I'm sorry, 263 Electoral College votes. So she need... what's that? She would need 7 more votes to get to 270. It's a tied race. Now, here's where I find it very funny, this race. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are in a trench warfare situation. My buddy Ben Domenech, who's the editor at the U.S. version of The Spectator, he pointed this out, that it's trench warfare. In fact, let me read you a little bit about what Domenech wrote this morning in his transom email, because he makes a point that needs to be made. And let me just do this. The choices of running may have been widely viewed as major missed opportunities for both candidates. J.D. Vance contributed a bounce so small it may have been negative, reframing the culture war debate in single cat lady terms that made Democrats salivate and Taylor Swift veer left. And the choice of Tim Walz over a stronger rising star like Josh Shapiro has Democrats worried about Pennsylvania, the most important state of the cycle. Walz's story, so appealing on initial glance, crumbled into pieces in the months since he was chosen, from his lack of combat military experience to his tenuous football connection to his lies about the use of IVF. His far-left DFL progressivism, paired with the fear of interviews at both the top and bottom of the ticket, have left Kamala Harris campaigns reliant on partisan rallies and surrogates in the media, leaving her far underwater with independent voters who remain unsure what she'll even do as president. The second presidential debate, watched by 67 million people, could have been a point where Harris laid those concerns to rest. The Democrat-leaning press and commentators were jubilant in her performance, believing it would be a huge boost for the campaign. Instead, the polling averages had at most a 1-point nudge. In Nate Silver's average, she went from a 2.2 polling advantage on the day before the debate to 2.9% today. She leads in averages by enough to guarantee another popular vote win, but not by enough to leave any Democrat feeling comfortable Electoral College. And her problems with key Democrat groups, lagging Joe Biden among black men and Hispanics in particular, don't seem to be going away no matter how many new accents she deploys. The joy just isn't there for these voters. The big news this week is the decision by the Teamsters, representing 1.3 million members, to, for the first time in almost a quarter century, not endorse the Democrat candidate for president. Independent surveys showed their members solidly supporting Trump by 59 to 34%. The decision not to endorse is really a dodge. Their members have a clear tilt towards Trump, and it's calling into question her campaign's decision to focus more on the care economy than manufacturing and industry, in part because that's what their candidate is comfortable talking about. It's been without question the most chaotic presidential election of the modern era, and it's not over yet. But the battle lines are hardened, and they really haven't shifted. Americans might be on edge, but they're remarkably consistent in their views, priorities, and attitudes toward both sides. It's a thin strip of no man's land that will decide this election, and the people wandering in it right now are torn between two sides that don't seem interested in speaking to them. They're too busy trading shots online, and that is the key point here. Both campaigns, the Trump campaign and the Harris campaign, are too online. I understand that I'm talking to a highly informed audience. I want to say something I don't mean as an insult because it applies to me as well, so I will say we. We are not normal. You're listening to a news talk radio program, live, in delay, on demand, on podcast, but you're listening to it. You're watching me on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter. You're not normal. Normal people are at work right now, or they're taking care of kids or an elderly person. They're trying to figure out what's for lunch. They're not being connected to. The campaigns are trading cat memes on the right and abortion memes on the left. They're running this on cats and abortion. You know, at some point today, some normal person is going to sit down and do a grocery list. And if they've got a family, they're going to have to decide, are we doing the generic Pop-Tarts or are we doing the actual Kellogg's Pop-Tarts this week? What can we afford? A normal person this week is trying to figure out what tonight's football game is. And are they going to be able to watch it? And is it going to suck because it's on Amazon Prime? A normal person this week is enraged that their child is now doing Common Core math and the parent doesn't know what the hell it is or how to do it with their kid, and they're trying to figure it out. They're not thinking about the cat memes. They're not thinking about abortion. They're not thinking about hope and joy. They're thinking about what's for supper. And why are the groceries unaffordable? Normal people want to talk about groceries, and normal people are worried about their jobs. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump aren't really talking about that, and to the extent they are, Trump's doing a better job of it than Kamala Harris. But they're not really. They're engaged in hyper online combat over the latest outrage on Twitter. They're not really talking to the American public. Campaigns, I think, on all sides would be wise to delete their Twitter accounts and tell their staff to stay off Twitter, because it's shaping the conversations disproportionate to where normal people are living their lives. And spare me the millions of people you think are on Twitter, because the numbers are exaggerated and most people aren't. And the campaigns aren't talking to those persuadable people who are actually going to decide a close election. By the way, that is why Donald Trump needs to go to Springfield, Ohio. Because if Donald Trump goes to Springfield, Ohio, and he talks about the mass of immigrants who have poured into the city and taxed social services over the last couple of years, he's going to be talking to those normal voters who trying to get their elderly parent into a doctor's office, and the doctor's office is backed up for weeks because of the mass number of immigrants who have come into the local community and have government grants to get health care. If Donald Trump goes to Aurora, Colorado, and he talks about the mass wave of gangs out there, he's going to be talking to the normal people who are scared to death they're going to get carjacked at a stoplight. If Donald Trump goes to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and he talks about the cost of groceries, he's going to be talking to normal people. Kamala Harris can't talk to normal people because Kamala Harris has been in government for so long, all she can do is speak in governmentese and platitudes. She doesn't know how to speak to normal people anymore. Neither does Tim Walz. That's part of their problem. They have been in government for so long, they don't talk to people normally. To the extent they try to talk to people normally, it comes off as baby talk. That's why Trump still has an advantage in this race. Now, Nate Silver is beginning to degrade Donald Trump's chances of winning the election. A lot of Republicans had pinned their hopes in him. He's seeing signs out there that are questioning Trump's ability to win. The ground game still matters in a tied race, and the Trump ground game is not as robust as Harris's. You know, yesterday I mentioned that America PAC is the only PAC I'm aware of doing aggressive door-to-door in Georgia. I'm hearing it from people all over the state. And a bunch of other groups, people close to them texted and said, can you correct the record on this? Here's what my group is doing. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not going to correct the record for this reason. I have listeners across every corner of the state of Georgia, and there's only one group that comes up in conversations with them that's actually seen on the door. God bless you for telling me how many hundreds of thousands of people you've contacted, but guess what? It's been completely immemorable to the people who actually matter, the undecided voters who are going to decide this election and the Republican voters who've got to turn out for Trump. They're all talking about Elon Musk's America PAC. No other PAC is coming up in those conversations. This is not your permission to start inundating me with, as a matter of fact, my group did this. I'm just telling you what the conversations have been. Meanwhile, on the Democratic side, they're hearing from Planned Parenthood, the AFL-CIO, the Harris campaign itself. Republicans got to step up the ground game. This is a completely tied race. And the group that's going to win, the candidate that's going to win, is the candidate that remembers that in a tied race, you got to talk to the persuadable people who haven't made up their mind, of which there are still many. And then you got to try to motivate your base with a message that also gets those people to your side. Motivate your base with a message that persuades undecideds instead of just catering just to your base. And you're going to win this thing, Trump.
Want to be on the show?
Hello? I love your show.
Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
121 in the Coolway Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues with this tractor-trailer crash. 75 southbound at the South 120 loop. That's exit 263. The 3 right lanes are blocked, causing delays between Kennesaw and Marietta. Avoid all of it by using Highway 41. This report brought to you by WeBuyAnyCar.com. Avoid the hassle of selling privately or dealing with a dealer. We Buy Any Car is the fast and fair way to sell. Get your car's evaluation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
This is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
Hey, are you strapped in yet? Seatbelt buckled? It's going to be a wild ride, and we're all on the roller coaster of this election. Less than 60 days to go, thank goodness. We're in the home stretch. Are you in the home stretch towards retirement? You might be white-knuckling it more than anybody else. It's Eric Erickson here. If you're over 50, have $250,000 or more saved for retirement, I'm doing a special live event with my friend and weekly Fox business guest, David Nicholas of Nicholas Wealth Management on Thursday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Foxglove in Marietta. It's open to the public if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, but seating is very limited. You can bring a spouse, bring a friend. We're going to discuss hot topics surrounding the November election and how the economy and your retirement could be impacted. Food and a cash bar are going to be provided by Carriage House Catering. Again, it's registration-only event with limited seating. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com to register today. Again, it's me, Eric Erickson, my friend David Nicholas, live on Thursday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Foxglove in Marietta for a free event talking about the markets and the election. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com to attend this free event while seating lasts.
This is an educational program only. Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is for informational purposes only and will not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. This is a paid advertisement.
When you're looking for leading cardiac care, look to Northside Hospital Heart Institute. We lead with 95% patient recommendations. You could say we're number 1 in the heart of Georgia. We lead with 100 dedicated cardiovascular doctors, so you'll know your heart is in the best hands. We lead with compassion, because you are at the heart of our care. Northside Hospital Heart Institute. We lead with heart.
So what's the deal? Suddenly not enough room for everything? Need to get organized? Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. The Bakers were in the same dilemma as you are now until we called the certified designers at Artisan Custom Closets. We scheduled a free in-home consultation and they came out, and together we came up with plans for a new master closet tailored to our needs. It's great. They maximized our closet space and helped us to get organized. Schedule your free in-home consultation now at artisancustomclosets.com.
At the Original Mattress Factory, we know that convenience is key. That's why we've made mattress shopping simple and stress-free. Shop in-store or online, whatever works best for you. No high-pressure sales tactics or fake promotions. Our prices are clearly marked, and we openly compare our products to other brands. With our streamlined selection, you won't be overwhelmed by duplicate options, and our 365-day comfort policy provides for peace of mind. Experience the ease of buying factory direct. Visit OMF today for better sleep tonight.
My wife and I both, we ended up mildly sick for a few months, and the nasal congestion was probably the worst part. I had like a post-nasal drip, just super congested all the time. We were taking everything we possibly could, but nothing really worked.
Kyrie was miserable until a friend recommended Navage. Navage offers immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Don't live in misery this cold season. Use Navage so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
The biggest thing Navage has done has completely cleaned out my nasal passages. It was from the first use. I was able to just clear out anything that was stopping me from breathing correctly. Navage helps me clear the way, literally clear the way, for me to operate better in the rest of my life.
Experience the Navage difference yourself. Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
We're, 46 days from the election, and it just can't come soon enough. Can it? Stand by if you're on the phones, please. 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the phones, by the way, those of you over in Charleston, South Carolina, I'll be with you. I'll be broadcasting from there on Monday and Tuesday. As a matter of fact, I got to go over this weekend for a conference I was asked to speak at by Vice President Pence, and Governor Kemp's going to be there, and a number of others, leading conservatives from around the country getting together in the run-up to the election. So should be a good time. I'm sure I'll run into some of you over in Charleston. Now, I got to move on to a lot of other stuff. In fact, when we come back, I do want to spend a little bit more time on the ground game. Got a lot of questions from people about the ground game, but also this cover-up of illegal alien data from the administration. But I got to point out the Teamsters thing. This is kind of big. So the Teamsters are not going to endorse about a quarter century since the last time they decided to do this. And it turns out that the overwhelming number of their members actually want to support Donald Trump. But the leadership can't do it because they know that the Democrats will turn on them and destroy them. And they've got significant vulnerabilities right now and different investigations going on. I guarantee you, if the Teamsters were not worried about threats from the Biden Justice Department, they would absolutely be endorsing Donald Trump. The weaponization of the government under the Democrats against their opponents is something that we can all marvel at and learn from, frankly, if you're a Republican. And that the media refuses to even acknowledge that that's what's going on here is even more remarkable. They will destroy their own credibility to try to stop Donald Trump. Good luck to them if they don't stop him with the precedents they've set. Now, I got to tell you, a buddy of mine in North Carolina was texting me a little while ago about Vision Computers and saying he's thinking that it might be time for them to upgrade. His wife is an independent contractor. She works out of the house. She's not particularly super technically savvy. It's like, absolutely. My board op, Jim, I'm here in studio today. Jim has had a computer for Vision Computers for, 2 decades almost? Yep, from Jim, and uses their tech support. And if you get a computer, let's say you're an independent contractor and you can't have an in-house IT guy. With Vision, you call them at 404 Compute. You buy your computer from them, they become your tech support team. So you never have downtime with them. They help you with email, with printer, everything you need. 404 Compute or visioncomputers.com. If you don't have a computer from Vision, but you still need their help, it's just $179 a year. And if you tell them I sent you, you save even more money. 404 Compute or visioncomputers.com. Let Vision be your tech support solution. Let them build your computer. 404 Compute.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. We have an update on election 2024. Tomorrow, the Georgia Election Board is going to make a decision on sweeping rule changes when it comes to the election, including proposals to hand count ballots and require absentee ballot tracking. It could cost $4 per voter. All this less than a month before early voting gets underway. And people with disabilities will have an easier time voting in Cobb County.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in Atlanta reaches a settlement with the Cobb County Board of Elections. It resolves a multi-year compliance review which found physical barriers at many polling sites. Changes will be made in time for this November's election. A review will ensure accessibility for all future polling sites. Poll workers will be trained on their obligations under the Americans with Disabilities Act. The 8-year review looked at more than 50 polling locations in Cobb through 3 election cycles. Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
We have 84 degrees here in Atlanta, headed for a high of 86 this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. We hope to learn more next hour about the arrest of a serial rapist in Clayton County. Police say 27-year-old Edward Huffman drugged, sodomized, and raped multiple women over several years. Check back for updates. We'll be following that news briefing, as we said, next hour. Fewer Americans are seeking first-time unemployment benefits. There were 219,000 requests received in the week ending September 14th. That's down 12,000 from the previous week's revised total. It's also lower than most analysts had been expecting. Today's report comes one day after word from the Federal Reserve that the central bank would be lowering interest rates for the first time in 4 years. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow is currently up 577 points at 42,080. So the Dow is up more than 1%. NASDAQ's up almost 3%. And the S&P's up almost 2%. It's 132.
Scott Slade here. You know, when we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire the largest injury firm in the world for your injury case? Let me count the ways. Your case will be handled by your lawyer, a paralegal, and a case manager who's always in the office for you when your lawyer's in court. There's also a 24-hour hotline if you ever have a question or a problem. We've collected over $20 billion and won a lot. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. If you haven't had your heating and air ducts cleaned in the last 5 years, you need Air Quality Systems. They'll come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just professionally clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be clean. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy.
Hey, it's Christina Edwards. Recently, I found a few cracks in the wall both inside and outside my home. I've always heard that may be a sign of damage to my home's foundation, so I called my friends at American Crawl Space Solutions. Turns out, it was natural settling, and I didn't need to repair it. I was impressed by their service and approach of educating me without pressure and sales games. And that's why American Crawl Space Solutions is your best value in foundation repair.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Veronica Harrell.
Still talking about a travel advisory in Marietta, 75 southbound, the South 120 loop, exit 263. You currently got 3 right lanes knocked out, so use Highway 41. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 86, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 88. Saturday, mostly sunny, morning low 66, afternoon high 89.
Right now in Dunwoody, you have some clouds and 84 degrees. Brookhaven, it's 85. Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have 85 degrees. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I want to take Wes's phone call here. Wes, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
I'm great, Eric. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you real quick about what you said earlier concerning the ground game and the undecided voter. I know that in my neck of the woods, in my personal and professional life, I run into a lot of people who have an opinion about this election, and none of them are undecided at this point. And I know that my little microcosm may not be indicative of the country as a whole, but it's just hard for me to understand how there can be so many people, given that the candidates in this election are so far apart on every single issue. How can there be so many undecided voters, and what's got to be done to reach them?
Oh, that is a great question. Okay, so first of all, let me set the parameters for you here. We're talking about of the total voting population, according to the surveys I've seen, if you take the average, because the individual surveys vary, take the average, you're only talking about 4% of the people who are going to vote. So it's actually small. But that's actually around this time and towards the election normal. So let's go back to, for example, 2016. It was about 14% undecided. Go to 2020. It was about 10% undecided. This year, about 4%. Now, here's the problem, is those undecideds are largely undecided because they all have a 100% strong opinion of Donald Trump. They just don't know Kamala Harris yet, so they don't know whether they like her or not. That's part of the problem the Trump campaign has to deal with, but it's also the problem Kamala Harris has to deal with, and that Trump could define her. So you are talking about a small number there. Now, at the same time, you do want to persuade those people because the split is about 50-50 right now between Trump partisans and Harris partisans. So if you can persuade any of those people to come in your direction, you win them. Now, who are they? Overwhelmingly, they're not white. Overwhelmingly, they're men. And that gives Trump an advantage. They want you to address the issues they care about. But here's the problem. Harry Itten in CNN pointed out. What's their number one issue? Wes, you got an idea what is the number one issue of an undecided voter right now?
No.
It's a trick question. You just answered it. They don't have one. Seriously. It is an emotional issue. If you're undecided at this point, it's an emotional issue for you. You're not sure you want to go through 4 more years of Donald Trump, and you remember the stress he caused you on was he going to start World War III. At the same time, you remember his economy was good, and you had a good job, and you didn't have inflation. So what does Kamala Harris have to bring to the table? That's the issue here that both campaigns have to deal with, and that's why if they can talk about kitchen table issues, whoever does that is going to persuade enough of these people. And again, the larger issue point here, and Wes, I'll let you go there. Thanks for listening to me on this. The larger issue here is that you want to talk to base mobilization. You want to get your base mobilized to turn out. But the way in which you talk to your base to turn them out is going to persuade those undecided voters. And in a very close election, having that many undecided voters, 4%, is not in terms of percentage large, but it's still thousands of people in a race that could be decided by 50 to 100,000. It could matter greatly in directing the outcome of the election. So how does this play out? If you're Kamala Harris, let me explain to you, and let me talk about them in since I usually am just trashing Harris here. And I know the Trump people are like, yeah, you trash Trump. I trash them all. I don't like any of them. Vote for Trump. just prefer a different candidate. Nonetheless, I digress. Let me advise both candidates here. As an outside observer who hates everyone, if you're Kamala Harris right now, and you're talking about hope, joy, and the caring economy, she actually said the children belong to the community. She trotted out Hillary Clinton the other day. You're doing it wrong. Because the undecided voters care about their job. They care about industry. They care about manufacturing. They work in auto plants, and they think you're going to wipe them out with the Green New Deal. They care about fracking in Pennsylvania. They care about jobs. So if you're Kamala Harris, you need to talk about protecting those jobs and growing that industrial base. Give up the joy talk. Talk in practical terms to moms about the cost of groceries and what you're going to do. That's why it's so hard for Kamala Harris, because she caused the problems. Now, if you're Donald Trump, you do the same thing. You talk about manufacturing and industrial, which he's already doing, and he's doing quite well. And then you bring in groceries. And you bring in how illegal aliens are propping up our economy and causing crime. And you just talk about those issues. Why? Because the undecided voters, as I was telling Wes, they don't have a number one issue. It's an emotional appeal to them. And the emotional appeal to them is you got to make the case of what's best for your family. And I assure you, vibes and happy feelings and unicorn farts are not what's best for their families. What's best for their families is a safe community with affordable groceries and good jobs. And Trump can make that case in a way Kamala Harris can't. It gives him an advantage right now. If you're an undecided voter in America, and right now there's a smaller number of undecided voters than ever before, about 4 to 5% of the electorate. It's an emotional play. They already have an opinion about Trump. They're waiting to form their opinion on Harris. And the way Donald Trump can shape their opinion on Harris is being substantive on their issues in a way she is incapable of being. And he'll win. Now, part of that as well is the ground game. And this is my concern. I want to go back to, as I mentioned earlier, this situation with me and America PAC. I don't know America PAC. I have no relationship with America PAC. I'm not a huge Elon Musk fan. But America PAC, his PAC, is showing up at people's houses in Georgia. Now, a buddy of mine tells me that they're just leaving flyers on doors. That has not been the experience to callers of mine. So for those of you outside of Georgia, I am not only on one of the largest talk stations in the country, I am on the biggest talk station in Georgia, and it covers the population base of Georgia. But I'm also on in every other corner of the market in the state: north, south, east, west, northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, central west, central east. I'm cover the state of Georgia. And I hear from people all over the state of Georgia. And Georgia is one of the 3 big swing states: Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. You win all 3 of those, you win the election. And I hear from people. And what they tell me is that they're finding the America PAC flyers at their doors. And more often than not, they're getting knocks on their doors from America PAC. Now, this was news to the friend of mine who said they're just leaving flyers. They're making contact with flyers. Because about a half dozen different people said, no, the guy actually knocked on the door. We had a conversation. And I was encouraged that someone was there. Now, other groups tell me that they're making contact. In fact, when I put that out, I got a lot of grief from a lot of people that I wasn't mentioning these other groups that are out there. There's the Trump Volunteers Army that's out there. There's also the Faith and Freedom Coalition, have 137 paid canvassers, 500 plus volunteers, 282,256 home visits in Georgia alone, 2.176 million nationwide. God bless them for that. The problem I have is that no one has mentioned to me they've seen the Faith and Freedom Coalition show up at the door in Georgia. Now, I'm sure since I've said this, I will be flooded with people who have been asked to tell me yes. I have seen them at my home. But in the spontaneous, unsolicited conversations, it was America PAC. Now, this isn't to grade Faith and Freedom or any other group. It was just when I put out the tweet, and I'm somewhat annoyed by the number of people say, you must mention my group too because we're doing it. Not a damn person has reached out to me and said Group X or Group Y reached out to me and contacted me at my home. The only one that's come up is America PAC. So I'm not going to walk it back. I'm going to say in the unsolicited anecdotal information I've had from people in Rome, Georgia, from people in Clarksville, Georgia, from people in Dalton, Georgia, from people in Atlanta, Georgia, from people in Macon, Georgia, from people in Vidalia, Georgia, from people in Valdosta, Georgia, from people in Albany, Georgia, I have heard that the America PAC people are showing up, and that's a good thing. But it's got to be sustained. The Harris team has hundreds of paid people in each of these swing states. The Trump campaign has mostly been relying on volunteers, and they're pivoting to paid people. Part of the problem that the Trump campaign is having is they've outsourced it to third-party groups, and you can't coordinate with them. So the Harris campaign, for example, knows on a daily basis how many doors have been knocked on, how many people were home, how many of those people were talked to, and how many said they support Harris. The Trump campaign doesn't have that depth of data because they're not allowed to talk to all these get-out-the-vote operations under federal law because they're third-party groups funded by outside entities. There is minimal coordination they're allowed to do. The other problem is that the Trump campaign relied on some outside groups that said they'd cover all the swing states, and now they're like, oh, our bad, we didn't raise enough money. We can only do the west of the Mississippi, or we can only do east of the Mississippi. So you got a bunch of different groups that are overlapping. The Harris campaign not only has the Harris campaign in these states, they've also got Planned Parenthood, the AFL-CIO, the SEIU. They got a lot of union groups out there. They got environmentalist groups out there. They've got gun-grabbing groups out there. They're all doing their own thing, and they've all got their separate wheelhouse, but sometimes the overlap happens, and that helps motivate people. This is one of the latent concerns Republicans have about the Trump campaign right now. In a tied race, voter turnout matters. Voter turnout is done through a ground game, and the Harris campaign unquestionably, hands down, has a better ground game because they're doing it in-house. They have the daily data collection, and then they have really well-funded outside third-party progressive groups like Planned Parenthood and the SEIU and the AFL-CIO and the Sierra Club. Many of the Republican groups, like even America PAC for that matter, they're brand new groups. They've never done it before. So they're having to rely on other groups. Now, here's one of the concerns in Arizona and Nevada. In Arizona and Nevada, Elon Musk's America PAC has fired their coalition partner that was helping do the door-to-door operations. Now, I happen to know the guy who ran that September group. I've known him for a long time. The Elon Musk America PAC fired this group because they said it was moving too slow. Here's the thing. Yes, they move slow, but that's why they're the best at it. Because what happens is you get these young grifter groups. Let me explain how this works. So you get Group X. Group X is presided over by Person Y. Group X goes door to door with mail pieces. Mail pieces come from Group Z. Guess who owns Group Z? Person Y. So Person Y owns the field operation and the mail shop. They're making double commissions, and they're knocking on every door possible, and they're printing a bunch of mail, so they're making buku dollars. But by targeting every single door, they're not targeting the people who actually vote. The group that Elon Musk was using actually is very precise in how it targets people who are likely to turn out and vote for Donald Trump. These other groups are targeting everybody and maybe motivating Democrats to come out for all we know. But they're making a lot of money. The principal agents in charge are making a lot of money. It's a bunch of grifting operations. Elon Musk apparently has gotten some bad advice, and he's handing his operation over to the people who are more interested in making money than winning. I don't know how this is going to play out, but here's what I know. If your message is really good in a presidential year, you're able to motivate people without just relying on door to door. Because people know it's a presidential year. Everybody's talking about the presidential election. They'll turn out. But as you turn out your base of voters, you've got to have a message for them that resonates with the undecided voters, that gives Donald Trump an advantage, but his campaign's got to be disciplined in their deployment. If they can do that, they're absolutely going to win this race. In the Electoral College right now, forget the popular vote. In the Electoral College right now, Donald Trump still has an advantage. He can still win. His message here in the last 50 days of the race, however many it is, still matters greatly. Also, the economy matters. In between banks collapsing and interest rates, they're coming down a point, but they're still wobbling out there. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metal for 40 years. They've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, you need their report about it. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can help you protect your assets. Their report takes just 15 minutes to read. I've read it. It can save you on your retirement and finances. You can get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency, and it's growing and spreading. Read the Secret War on Cash report for free. All you do is call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. They'll send you the report. It is completely for free. All you do is call or text my name to 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Message and data rates may apply.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news, the travel advisory crash. 75 southbound, the South 120 loop, exit 263. All off to the right. Still, you're fighting delays between Kennesaw and Marietta. This report brought to you by the Hartford Small and Business Insurance. The Hartford Small Business Insurance offers insurance solutions to fit your needs. Learn more about the Hartford Small Business Insurance and why over 1 million small business owners trust them. Visit the hartford.com/small business. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks.
Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office is investigating a protective incident involving former President Donald Trump.
We've got it covered.
Vice President Harris saying, I'm glad that he is safe. Violence has no place in America.
Tune in throughout the day for the very latest.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
You've probably heard that constipation and IBS can all be related to a lack of fiber in your diet. Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you or someone you know suffers from constipation or IBS, let the Bread Beckers show you the way to more fiber and regularity and to better health without swallowing a pill or a bad-tasting drink. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable, and delicious solution for your family that can change your life. This is not like the enriched bread you buy at the grocery store. It's real bread. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier life. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
Fall into luxury during the L-Certified Fall Collection Sales Event at Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Hey, it's Shelley Winter. With the U.S. News & World Report Best CPO program and unlimited mileage warranty up to 6 years and 2 years of complimentary maintenance, it's nicer than pumpkin spice. Hurry in. The event ends November 4th.
A Total Plumbing is now part of your trusted Ace Hardware Home Services team. Their expert plumbers are ready to provide top-notch service and repairs. Visit a-totalplumbing.com to learn more. A Total Plumbing and Ace Hardware Home Services, bringing helpful to your home.
So, you need new siding. Well, do your homework. Improperly installed siding is common. Home Fixer Show host Dave Baker here. I've done the research. Nelson Exteriors is my only siding recommendation. They're a James Hardy Color Plus specialist. And Nelson Exteriors has more dedicated project managers per job focused on your home. The highest level of quality control and no cutting corners. A beautiful new siding job installed properly that lasts longer. Get your free siding quote from my guys. Just Google Nelson Exteriors.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now. 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Want Eric's weekly recipes? They're super delicious. Text recipe to 33777 now.
Greetings and welcome. Charlie, I've got news for you. You probably haven't heard this news unless you saw it in the show notes. So Charlie, my producer, is from Montana, where we are on the radio in Kalispell, Montana. And Jon Tester is already looking like he's going to lose the Montana race, which would more likely than not hand the Republicans control of the Senate. And his path to victory became even harder today because the Montana Supreme Court has refused to throw the Green Party's Senate candidate, Robert Barb, off the ballot. The Democratic Party in Montana, to protect democracy, wanted to throw a candidate off the ballot who's running for the Senate there. The Montana Democratic Party claimed that he was appointed, Barb was, to replace the Green Party candidate who won the primary but then had to drop out. And since he wasn't nominated, he couldn't be on the ballot. Now, isn't that cute? The Democrats, having gone through what they went through with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, decided that this because the Green Party candidate dropped out after securing his nomination in the primary, the new guy can't be put on the ballot. The lower court denied the Democratic Party's effort, and the Supreme Court has said, nope, you guys, you can't do that. The quote, the Democratic Party has not convinced us. The district court erred in its ruling on September 3rd, although we reached the same result as that court under a different analysis. Since we've not concluded the district court is proceeding under a mistake of law, this matter is not susceptible to supervisory control. Therefore, the candidate stays. Right now, in the Real Clear Politics polling average, Tim Sheehy leads Tester 50% to 44.8%. The Cook Political Report has now rated the Montana seat leans Republican. The AARP also has a poll that shows Tim Sheehy leading Jon Tester. And that one includes a Libertarian and a Green Party candidate. I know. I take that up. When you add the Libertarian and the Green Party candidates, Tim Sheehy's lead grows over Jon Tester. So bad news for Jon Tester in Montana. The Republicans are going to take the West Virginia race. With Joe Manchin not running again, Jim Justice, the governor, despite all of his faults, and there are many, he's going to win. That gives the Republicans 50 seats. Tim Sheehy winning in Montana gives the Republicans 51 seats. Now, we've seen this before. The election's not until November. This race could still upend itself, crash and burn. The other interesting thing is that the New York Times Siena College poll has Dave McCormick now tied with Bob Casey in Pennsylvania. They're the only pollster that shows it tied, but every other poll has showed it tightening rapidly as voters begin to pay attention post-Labor Day. Early voting begins I think this week in Pennsylvania. That it's starting to close as rapidly as it is in McCormick's favor actually helps the GOP there. And then, of course, there's that wild Maryland race where it leans Democrat, but a lot of Democratic voters are expressing ticket splitting that they might reward Larry Hogan for Trump hating his guts. They'll vote for Kamala Harris and Larry Hogan. There is a real opportunity there for the Republicans to get out of this with 52, 53 seats. Montana looks the most likely with 51 seats, though. But let's not count our chickens till they're hatched, folks. When we come back, speaking of chickens, the environmentalists are having a moment.
Dave Baker here for my deck experts at Ben Hill Renovations. Still dragging your heels on that new deck? I get it. You want to make sure you find the right builder. You want Ben Hill Renovations. From their superior craftsmanship to their workmanship warranty, they are your one-stop shop when it comes to upgrading your outdoor living space. Visit their showroom or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com and schedule a free design consultation at your home. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
D. Geller & Son Jewelers is celebrating 85 years in Atlanta this month. It's been an honor to be your hometown family jeweler since 1939. D. Geller & Son is still 100% family-owned and operated, and we love our community. That's why we have trained jewelers you can trust in every store for professional, reliable service on site. It's why we have Atlanta's best lifetime care plan for free, covering everything from ring sizing to diamond upgrades. Come celebrate 85 years with us in Atlanta, Kennesaw, or Sandy Springs, and read our story online at dgeller.com.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. It's happening now. Police in Clayton County discussing the arrest of an accused serial rapist. Police say 27-year-old Edward Huffman drugged, sodomized, and raped multiple women over several years. We've just learned that he is now facing 7 counts of rape, and we hope to learn more at this hour's news conference. 83 degrees in Atlanta. And how much of a warm-up in the days leading up to the weekend? Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Now an update on election 2024. The Georgia Election Board decides tomorrow on controversial rule changes for the upcoming election. The proposals include hand-counting ballots and requiring absentee ballot tracking that could cost $4 per voter. Critics worry it's too close to the election to be making any changes. A message today from Postmaster General Louis DeJoy with mail-in ballots now going out in a number of states.
Let me be clear. The Postal Service is ready to deliver the nation's mail-in ballots.
Election officials in a number of states, including here in Georgia, are expressing concerns about the Postal Service heading into the election. Over 69 million ballots were sent by mail during the last presidential election. Students from a private school in Metro Atlanta walk out today in protest of Georgia's gun laws following the shooting at Appalachian High School.
Now, nobody should ever give a kid a gun.
Administrators from the Morgan Oliver School lead the students to protest outside the state capitol. They also meet with state senators to discuss gun laws. Georgia is getting over $1.2 million to help fight gang activity in the state. It'll support GEMA's efforts to prosecute gang-related activities as well as bolster community safety initiatives. Update now on jobs in Georgia. The unemployment rate is up a tick.
The state's unemployment rate rises 0.2% last month over the prior month to 3.6%. That's 0.6 lower than the national jobless rate. Georgia Labor Commissioner Bruce Thompson says the state's growing labor force and business-friendly economy helped Georgia maintain its top business ranking for the 11th straight year. The top 2 sectors with the most over-the-month job gains are healthcare and social assistance and private education services. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
As we update your money now, and on the stock market today, there's a big rally happening right now. 633 points. The Dow is up. The S&P is up more than 2%. The NASDAQ is up almost 3% at this hour. It is 2:02, and up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
The Fed is signaling the interest rates could come back down in September. Now's the time to call MyLend. This is Scott Slade. It's a great time to get your application in line and ready for when the rates do drop. MyLend has several loan programs to help you access the equity in your home. And many of MyLend's clients are using their equity to consolidate debts or make home improvements. Whether it's a kitchen or a basement remodel, MyLend can show you the best way to use your equity to your advantage. When you involve something as important as your home, you want the best local company to work with. That's why I choose MyLend. MyLend's helped thousands of Atlanta homeowners just like you save the most amount of money with their mortgage. In fact, their average customer saves over $700 a month. Call MyLend, 770-817-2000, 770-817-2000, or online at mylend.com, spelled it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage Licensee 148769, located at 8995 West Side Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLend is an equal housing lender.
All my life I wore contacts with no problems, and a few years ago my reading gave out and I started having to wear reading glasses. After a while I got frustrated and I went to see Dr. Ashraf regarding my options. Instead of LASIK, I opted for laser optics procedure. Believe me, this is amazing. Most of my day I do not use any glasses, even for reading. As an added bonus, my insurance covered most of the cost.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashraf of the Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm proud to be one of the first physicians to offer the laser optics procedure. This procedure uses LASIK technology to improve your distance vision, but also helps to restore your reading vision. As a matter of fact, most of my patients are able to read a menu or see their phones without the need for reading glasses. So if you can relate to Bill's frustrations, come see me and see if you're a candidate for the laser optics procedure.
If you would like to learn more about the procedure and find out if you're covered by insurance, visit Atlanta2020.com. That's Atlanta2020.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
When is the last time you paid less but got more in return? It happens every day if you or a loved one has Medicare Advantage. $0 copays and an average of $2,500 less out of pocket annually, but more benefits like dental, hearing, and vision. More prevention and screenings to keep people healthy. More care for less money. No wonder 33 million seniors choose Medicare Advantage. Visit MedicareAdvantageMajority.org to learn more. Paid for by Medicare Advantage Majority.
It is 2:05 and time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. Here is Veronica Harrell.
Saying good afternoon to you, Bill. And right now watching delays over on the south side. A crash knocks out the right lane, 85 northbound before 285, causing brake lights that stretch back before 138 Jonesboro Road. Elsewhere, dealing with volume over on the downtown ride, 75, 85 north and south, and the crash 75 southbound, the South 120 loop, exit 263 off to the right, but still delays stretch back to Wade Green Road. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 86, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 88. Saturday, mostly sunny, morning low 66, afternoon high 89.
And the sunshine will stay with us through the weekend. The first day of fall is coming up on this Sunday. Right now with sunshine, it is 80 degrees in Mableton, 84 in Conyers, and 83 in Fayetteville. More news at 2:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, 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 one and all. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425, should you wish to be on the program. There is some breaking news that I've got to actually pivot from what I wanted to talk about because I need to bring you up to speed on this story that is happening. There is a concerted effort happening today to push Mark Robinson out of the race for governor in North Carolina because of a damaging story that they believe is going to come out. Now, there are a number of damaging stories about Mark Robinson, and I've got to just say something up front. Mark Robinson has been an intriguing person because of his culture war stances, and I played some of his speeches on radio. But I have remained a little bit suspicious about him in large part because of this massive embrace from a bunch of people who have just always had a history of terribly vetting candidates. It's that when the base of the party wants their ears tickled, along comes guys who do it, and they tend to go with them, and they don't pay attention to the background. Mark Robinson has had a number of problems in the past, as has his wife, including bounced checks to the Girl Scouts for cookies, among other things. There's just a guy whose wife was dying with cancer. They've got a history of bounced checks, convictions for bounced checks. Their nonprofit got shut down. It was fined by North Carolina $132,000. All sorts of shady business practices, but Donald Trump endorsed him early on because he said all the things, got all the people riled up with culture war stuff. And there were people, including former Congressman Mark Walker, who were saying, wait a second, guys, there are lots of skeletons in the closet here you need to worry about. Well, everyone ignored that sort of stuff. And now it's come out. There's been one story about he spent a lot of time in a adult store watching pornography. That's one story. Another story is he has quoted or cited Hitler. That's the other story. And now I am told what is coming is a financial scandal. I'm not sure if that's true. That's just what I'm being told, a financial scandal. But the Republicans are today in a mad, furious dash to get Mark Robinson to get out of the race today. It is his last day to withdraw as a candidate because a story they believe is coming soon that will be devastating, and he's already 10 points down. Here's the problem. Trump endorsed the guy that shut everyone else out of the race. It's like Roy Moore over in Alabama. Whether you believe Roy Moore was the victim of a smear campaign or not, and I have some friends who do, the moment the allegations started coming out about Roy Moore's creepy, pervy behavior, of course, the media was going to pounce. And you know what happened? A Democrat got elected to the United States Senate in Alabama. Here's why. And this, again, is the thing. I need to put this very bluntly to all of you. This is going to be insulting. I don't mean to be insulting with this. I really don't, because I am an evangelical Christian. But evangelical Christians seem to have just abandoned their discernment. And when they find someone who sounds like them and says the things that they believe, they don't care about the baggage. They don't care about the allegations or the rumors. They circle the wagon and say, he's one of us. God wills him to this position. They did this with Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson gave a lot of speeches that as an evangelical culture warrior, I loved, about the transgender issues and marriage and things like that. And man, I played his audio on the radio show. But along came a lot of people in North Carolina who said, hey, don't be distracted by his words. Look at the record. He and his wife got sued by the Girl Scouts for bouncing checks for cookies, for God's sakes. A lot of other check issues, nonprofit issues, financial issues. There's a lot of baggage there. And a lot of evangelicals say, no, he's one of us. God will protect him. God will manifest a wall of angels around him and protect him. Same thing happened with Roy Moore in Alabama. Roy Moore was our guy. He was the evangelical's choice. The Christians loved him. He fought for traditional marriage. He fought against trans rights. He's our guy. Along comes all the scandals. And what happened? The evangelicals in Alabama, they circled the wagons around him. They said, no, he's our guy. These are all lies. These are all lies. These are all lies. La, 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 we're not going to listen. Blah, 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 we're not going to listen. And what happened to Roy Moore? Doug Jones got elected to the United States Senate because the evangelicals decided God's will is Roy Moore. He will surround him with an army of angels, just like Elisha, and that'll get him over the finish line. Angels are not American citizens and do not get to vote in the election. You know who do? Independent voters who decide elections, and they were put off by the scandal, and they voted for a Democrat in Alabama, and all those independent voters, don't call them libs because they were happy to vote for every other Republican. But the evangelicals, my gosh, you say Jesus with 5 syllables and they get your vote. Jesus! Oh, he's one of us. He said it the right way. And y'all, look, these are my people. The amount of times I get told, stop talking about Jesus on the radio from people. These are my people. I know them. But they get combative and defensive for anyone who can say Jesus with 5 syllables. And if you can, you're clearly one of us. You love babies and Jesus, and you hate gay marriage. You must be elected to office. God will manifest your victory, and they turn out to be charlatans. They turn out to be frauds. They turn out to have skeletons in their closet. They turn out to have baggage you didn't know about because you didn't vet them, because you knew if they're that committed to Jesus, they can't have sins in their closet. They can't be creepy, pervy dudes who like to hit on young girls. They can't be shysters who ran fundraising schemes, because they can say Jesus with the proper pronunciation of 5 syllables, and they love babies, and they can quote scripture from heart and memory. They don't need it in front of them. They can just call up the right scripture and even cite the verse. They're true believers. We must support them. We must get them to office. That's what happened with Roy Moore. That's what's happening with Mark Robinson. And Republicans in North Carolina are today working furiously to force him out of the race. Today is the last day before more scandal hits. And he's down 10 points. He's down, and my goodness, he's going to lose the race. And when you're down 10 points in a gubernatorial race in a swing state, you can potentially hurt the candidate at the top of the ballot, Donald Trump. Haley Barbour, the former governor of Mississippi, before he was governor of Mississippi, Haley Barbour was the chairman of the Republican National Committee. Now, I have many differences with Haley Barbour, but Haley Barbour was the best and most competent chairman of the Republican National Committee I think we've ever had. And Haley Barbour had a rule: if you want to win a state, you need to win the governor's mansion, because governors build ground games to get themselves reelected, and they can be deployed for presidential elections. North Carolina has had a Democratic governor for over 30 years, but with few exceptions, Pratt McCrory being one of them. They've tended to go with Democratic governors because the evangelicals in North Carolina have oftentimes nominated people to be the Republican governor who turn out to be nuts or scandal-plagued. McCrory was an exception. And McCrory was running to be governor again, but he wasn't sufficiently loyal to Donald Trump, and Mark Robinson did all the performative leg humping he needed to do to ensure an early endorsement from Trump, even despite competent people like, for example, Mark Walker, who was a member of Congress, who was a pastor, who was able to win great districts and had a major base of support. But Robinson was the guy, because he hated gay marriage. He loved Jesus. He loved Donald Trump. And now it could turn that state into a super swingy state that risks Donald Trump's election. This is like Carrie Lake is another example of this, although she's not the evangelical. She's just the Trump one. She did every performative, embarrassing clown trick known to man to hump Donald Trump's leg and got his endorsement, and the crowd loved her, and she's going to hand that seat to the Democrats. That is a winnable seat. The Arizona Senate seat is winnable. Now, Carrie Lake, it's not in her character to be able to say Jesus with 5 syllables like those of us who are evangelicals in the South can say, but she decided to dance around the stage, wave the MAGA flag, do the secret handshake, buy the secret Dakota ring, and everything else to prove she was sufficiently loyal to Donald Trump. And it shut everybody else out of the race, because the Trump supporters aren't really Republicans, they're Trump supporters. And this is something the Republican Party has to deal with. And these voters they're like evangelicals. When someone says Jesus, they lose their ability to discern, and they go with the person with the secret Dakota ring who knows the secret handshake and does the performative leg hump and said, they're one of us, we must endorse them. And sometimes they're not good candidates. Republicans, for some reason, have just lost their ability to discern good candidates. They're looking for virtue signaling. A buddy of mine sent me a picture from his neighborhood. He lives in a very progressive neighborhood in Atlanta, and he's the closet conservative. This yard has a flag. It says December 7, 1941, September 11, 2001, January 6, 2021. Never forget. Pearl Harbor, 9/11, and the storming of the Capitol on January 6th. That is the most virtue signal flag I think I've ever seen in someone's yard. Both sides love the virtue signaling. It's going to cost Republicans the governor's mansion in North Carolina. It's going to cost the Republicans the Senate seat in Arizona. It cost them a Senate seat in Alabama because Republican voters lacked discernment. They went with endorsements from people who did performative genuflecting to Donald Trump, said they loved Jesus and babies, got nominations, and turned out to be terrible candidates. So right now, if you're just tuning in, Mark Robinson, the Republican gubernatorial candidate in North Carolina, has canceled all events today. He was supposed to do an event with J.D. Vance. That has now been canceled. You know, he was a featured speaker at the Republican National Convention in July. And everything is beginning to collapse. Senator Ted Budd has just told reporters that the allegations against Mark Robinson, if true, are concerning. He doesn't clarify what the allegations are about amidst rumors of a very damaging incoming story that is apparently attributed to CNN. Friends of the Republican Party, there are a lot of Republicans in North Carolina who warned you that if Mark Robinson were to be the nominee, this would be a problem, but no one wanted to listen because he spoke MAGA and was a true believer, and he said Jesus with 5 syllables. Interestingly enough, one of the people who advanced him and said that he would be a great candidate is Michael Whatley, who's now the chairman of the Republican National Committee. What is most notable to me is that all the major national Republicans who promoted Mark Robinson's candidacy in the primary abandoned him the moment he became the nominee. And now North Carolina may hand everything to the Democrats because of this unless they can get him out of the race today. Discernment matters greatly.
Well connected and well respected. It's Eric Erickson live every weekday.
220 in the Cooley Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still dealing with delays making your way up from or trying to get over to the airport with a crash 85 northbound at 285. It knocks out the right lane. Delays stretch back into Union City around Highway 138. This report brought to you by WeBuyAnyCar.com. Avoid the hassle of selling privately or dealing with a dealer. We Buy Any Car is the fast and fair way to sell. Get your car's valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com. Moving elsewhere, crash is off to the right, but delays remain in Marietta. 75 southbound, a South 120 loop, exit 263. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is spend. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is spend. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Scott Slade here. You know, when we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at Cars
carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
If your home's AC system hobbled through the summer, listen up, as I'm about to save you some money. Hi, this is Daniel Jape from Jape Services. Industry regulations are changing at the end of the year, and all heating and cooling systems will see a price increase. Get your system up to future standards now and beat that price increase. Plus, with up to $3,000 in incentives and 0% financing, you can get comfortable now and pay later. Schedule at japeservices.com.
Jape Services.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, Priority Men's Medical Center will get your love life back in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your love life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To regain your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425 to Montgomery, Alabama. Chad, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, good to talk to you again, Eric. How are you doing today?
Great. Always good to hear from you.
Hey, just want to hit real quick the earlier first hour comments from Janet Yellen about employing illegals and how we need to keep them here, right? Mm-hmm. So, as you know, for a living, I'm a labor and employment lawyer. Our clients spend tens of thousands of dollars complying with immigration regulations every year. You know, you can't hire you cannot hire an illegal worker to work in your facility unless you've got an I-9 done, you've verified them to show that they're properly in the country. You can't do it. And if you do it, then ICE can come in there and bust you, and you could pay some huge fines. And, you know, you live in Georgia. You've seen how many times they've hit the chicken processing plants there.
Yep.
You know, and they hit other areas too, like, nurseries and so forth. But, I mean, there are now companies, for example, Walmart. If you're doing business with Walmart and you're a supplier with them, you have to jump through an incredible number of hoops. They use a European plan that requires you to have all sorts of requirements for guaranteeing that you're not hiring illegal workers or abusing them in any way. And if you don't meet their audit requirements, you don't get to be a Walmart vendor. And not only does that extend to me as a Walmart vendor, but anybody in the supply chain that I use. So I have to have my clients enter into contracts with their contractors, making sure that their contractors are following all the federal immigration laws. It is very complicated. And for Janet Yellen to come on, you know, and just say, oh, well, we just got to have them around. Hey, Janet, it's illegal.
Yes.
I mean, we lawyers, we labor and employment lawyers, this is what we spend our time on a daily basis. I can't tell you how many times I get a call from a client saying, can you check these documents and see if they satisfy the I-9 requirements? Because if they don't, I can't hire this person.
Chad,
right?
Look,
now,
I'm afraid I got to cut you off there because I
Sure.
got to go. But that's so well said. And yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm kicking myself that I didn't make that point earlier. So I'm glad you called. Now, I got to tell you guys about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm before we have the hard break and the computer throws me off the air. You can get 3 of them and you can save $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. Now, and the discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. Now, here's the point. Here's the point. I literally was in a super fancy hotel the other week, and like 5-star hotel, and the people in the room next to me started smoking weed, and I don't know why potheads think they can smoke in hotels, but it started bleeding in my room. I got a towel, rolled it up, got it wet, put it on the door to block the smell, but my room stunk. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm is so small I can hold it in my hand, and I always keep one in my travel bag. Fired it up, it got rid of the smoke odors. It wipes out every imaginable odor. Dirty diaper odors, smoke odors, litter box odors, frying odors, musty odors. Get 3 of them, save $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. You can get them from your house, your RV, your travel bag, wherever you need them. EdenPureDeals.com. ERIC3 is the discount code.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. New details emerging this hour about an accused serial rapist in Clayton County. At a news conference this hour, police say there are 7 adult victims they know of so far. The investigation finds 27-year-old Edward Samuel Huffman drugged, sodomized, and raped multiple women. He's also accused of molesting a child. So far, he's facing 7 counts of rape. Other charges include counts of sexual battery, sodomy, and sharing nude or sexually explicit images of others without their consent. He made his first appearance in court this afternoon. The FBI says China may have compromised thousands of devices in the U.S. The feds say infected devices include routers, security cameras, network storage devices, and more. Bryson Payne, a cybersecurity professor at the University of North Georgia, says make sure you always change your password when bringing home a new device.
If you left that default password there, they're able to log into that device from China or from any place else on the globe as easily as you can log into it from your home.
He also suggests updating your devices frequently and installing any new security updates. The Atlanta-based CDC is releasing data today showing overdose deaths are down but still higher than before the pandemic. Overdose deaths are to the lowest we've seen in 3 years. The estimated number of deaths from overdosing in the past year fell to just over 100,000, which is still higher than before the COVID pandemic. Record high home prices weigh down the housing market.
Sales of previously owned homes fell 2.5% in August from the previous month, down to the lowest level in over a year, despite mortgage rates at their lowest level in a year and a half. Prospective home buyers continue to struggle with affordability issues as home prices rose more than 3% from a year ago to about $417,000, a record high.
Money reporter Jason Brooks says it's the 14th straight month home prices have risen. It is 2:32.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit OnlyRealBread.com. The Bread Beckers, OnlyRealBread.com.
High five! Up top! Heck
yeah!
Dave's company just got the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business.
Yeah, 5 years!
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
High five for gig speed.
5 years of advanced security.
Security win.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Our rate ain't changing.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
There it is.
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Woohoo!
Now he's got savings.
I'm so excited.
Yep, Dave's feeling it. But it's only for a limited time, so don't wait. Switch today and ask how to get the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Powering 5 years of savings. Powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Ends 9/22/24. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Does it seem like it's getting louder and louder? Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. That noise is your garage door crying for help. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Our highly trained technicians provide 24/7 service, upfront pricing, and free estimates. We service all major brands. Our products are warranted, and our work is guaranteed. We will treat you like our only customer. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
At 2:34, Veronica Harrell is in the traffic center.
Better news over in Fulton County. Crash is cleared 85 northbound at 285, but delays stretch back to Highway 138 over in Union City. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny today, high 86.
It will be heating up as we head into the weekend. The first day of fall is on Sunday, and it will be close to 90. Right now, 81 in Douglasville, 83 in Monroe, 87 in Vinings. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Hang on one second. Eric Robinson scandal is blowing up. Okay. All right. I need to talk about what I intended to talk about in this hour till the breaking news of Mark Robinson. By the way, the North Carolina Board of Elections says that if Robinson departs the race by 11:59 p.m. today, the Republicans will be able to name a replacement candidate. So that's what you need to know. I got to tell you about this, well, New York Times story first, because it's hilarious, and I clearly did not actually link to the right story. So let me find the story, because it was pretty hilarious. They're worried about the cost of cows to the environment. That's right. This is their piece today. Here's the hidden environmental costs of food. Let me just begin by reading for you. Say a pound of beef costs $5.34 at your local supermarket. That price, according to researchers, leaves out something important: beef's heavy environmental toll. Add in things like deforestation and water use, they say, and the price of ground beef would be a lot higher. The damage to the natural world isn't factored into the price of food, but some governments are experimenting with a new way of exposing the larger costs of what we eat. As pricey as a run to the grocery store has become, our grocery bills would be considerably more expensive if environmental costs were included. The loss of species as cropland takes over habitat, groundwater depletion, greenhouse gases from manure and farm equipment. For years, economists have been developing a system of true cost accounting based on a growing body of evidence that the environmental damage caused by different types of agriculture. Now emerging research aims to translate the damage to the planet into dollar figures by displaying the so-called true prices, sometimes next to retail prices, Researchers hope to nudge consumers to factor in the environmental toll of food. Naturally, this is coming from Europe. The proponents of true cost accounting don't propose raising food prices across the board, but they say that increased awareness could change behavior. Oh, you know they want it raised. You know they want a tax. True Price, a Dutch nonprofit group that has pioneered true cost accounting alongside the United Nations and the Rockefeller Foundation to provide a window into some of their research. We asked them about it. They came up with a data set that compared the estimated environmental costs of common foods produced in the United States, divided into 3 categories: climate change caused by greenhouse gas emissions, water usage, and ecosystem effects from land use, including loss of biodiversity. These costs are going to be paid, says Claire Vanderbroek, managing director at True Price. They're paid in the healthcare system, in climate adaptation mechanisms, and those will come back in taxes. It's not like these costs are fictional. We ran True Price's methodology by other experts, you know, who found it to be generally sound, if sometimes vague. As higher quality data becomes available, they said, the efforts to quantify the environmental impact of food should improve. Alexander Mueller, founder of the TMG think tank for sustainability in Berlin, has worked with True Price. While we believe it has some shortcomings, their methodology is among the best available given our knowledge. They want you to know. So here's what they say. This is what they actually say. Your retail price for a pound of ground chuck is $5.34. Emissions from cow burps should add $3 to it. Water use, including to grow the food to feed the cows, should add 23 cents to it. The ecosystem effects from the land used to grow food for the cows and the land used to allow them to graze, $18.79. So the actual price of your ground beef should be $27.36. What about cheese? Retail price for your block of cheddar, $3.74. But the emissions from the dairy machinery, the cow burps and manure should add $1.04. The water that the cows drink that's used for growing their food should add 49 cents. And the ecosystem effects from the land use for the cattle feed production and grazing, $2.23. So your block of cheese should actually be $7.50. Even tofu has an environmental effect. Chickpeas, however, their environmental effect is only about 74 cents. In other words, you should become a vegetarian. Now, let's tie that to this thread from Ashish Joshi. He's a PhD candidate and focusing on climate adaptation. He also has the Palestinian flag in his bio. He is working in the Netherlands. He's an environmentalist, has a watermelon in his picture in his bio. Remember, watermelons, they're communists. Environmentalists, communists, green on the outside, red in the middle. He writes, I urge degrowth and other climate action researchers to keep in mind that all extraction adds damages to people and ecosystems everywhere, and challenge them to rise above techno-modernist ideology, to envision radical alternatives. Before advocating for each household to have appliances and gadgets that have only proliferated, please think of how we could greatly reduce our dependence on technologies. Here's how 2 low-tech alternatives for the basic tasks of washing and cooking. Washing clothes by hands is a chore, oftentimes a lonely one, but it needn't be. We could have communal washing facilities in each neighborhood where people can plan to come in groups to do their laundry together. This guy's serious, by the way. He's serious. He wants you to give up your washer and dryer and go do your laundry by hand in a commune. If you do it in a commune situation, you can have a chat with anyone who's there washing their clothes. Of course, those who prefer to do it at home are free to do so. Washing clothes by hand is tiring work, but it's physical activity and exercise. They could save money on gym memberships by doing their laundry at home. When it comes to preparing and consuming food, communal kitchens would eliminate the need to have refrigerators, stoves, ovens, or other kitchen appliances in each home. They would reduce the consumption of materials and energy and also food waste by a lot. So in other words, you want your late night snack? Now you got to put your clothes on and walk down the street in the middle of the night to the communal refrigerator and get your food out of there and hope Sheila from up the block hasn't eaten your block of cheese in the middle of the night with her pregnancy cravings. This is what they're advocating. He writes, there are so many simple ideas we can implement before giving in to extractive, colonialist, and ecocidal techno-modernist approaches. Of course, they require a radical reorganization of our societies and a shift to values, especially from individualism to collectivism. We'd also be wise to start preparing for a time likely within our lifetimes when we or many in the world will not have reliable electricity or devices they run. A world of disrupted supply chain and manufacturing, damaged infrastructure, and radically different priorities. This is an important point because many or most researchers haven't realized, or they've been ignoring, our reliance on modern technologies is eroding our resilience. I guess they're planning on blowing up the power plants, getting rid of them or something. This is Malthusianism and Marxism combined. We need less people, and they need to be communist. That's this guy. So think about where the environmentalists are heading. Your cows, your beef needs to be taxed by $20. So your 5-pound pack of ground chuck becomes $25 to punish you for not becoming a vegetarian. They say, no, we just want to educate you. But whenever the left says we just want to educate you about something, they want to make it mandatory and force the cost on you. That's what they want to do. And then this guy comes along and says, you know what, we need to get people to stop having kitchens and stuff. So there's this neighborhood outside of Atlanta called Serenbe. It's actually very nice. It's becoming much more crowded. The area is designed into little hamlets. Buddy of mine is building a house out there in one of the neighborhoods. They have for air conditioning in this neighborhood, you're not allowed to have like the outdoor HVAC systems and the fans. So they run a pipe system, goes deep down into the ground and supposedly can keep the house cool even in when it gets really hot. It circulates some sort of liquid underground that cools and it runs through the house, and they have a fan system, but not like your noisy AC. This little neighborhood is very, very deeply quiet. The bedrooms are all very small because even like the king-size beds, you can barely fit them in some of them. They're very, very small bedrooms because they want people to be outside. All the homes are connected to nature. It's actually kind of a cool concept if you're into that sort of stuff. They designed the garages to be small so that you can't have big SUVs. They encourage electric cars. All the houses have charging stations. In fact, they designed the garages to back up so close to the house that it discourages. It's impossible to have a big vehicle given the setup. It's for people like this. Listen, it's your choice. It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's very, very quiet without the outdoor ACs going and stuff. You can hear the nature. You're right up on the trails. It's not my sort of thing. I want a big bedroom. But can you imagine that sort of concept? But now there's no kitchen. You got to walk down the street to cook your food. You know what's going to happen is it's actually going to increase emissions because of all the people ordering DoorDash and Uber Eats, because they're not going to walk down the street in the rain to cook. They're just going to call DoorDash. So you're actually going to see an increase in the emissions. The idea that people are going to go communally wash their laundry together, we have that now. It's called laundromats. It's for poor people and college students. What's going to happen is that the rich are going to keep their lifestyle and force through government regulation everyone else to give up theirs. And that's going to build even greater populist backlash. All these progressives who are appalled at the rise of populism, all they're doing is fostering more of it with their detachment from society. It's just wild to watch the eco-warriors out there be that clueless, the true believers imposing their will on everyone else through government regulation. And you know, Kamala Harris wants to do that. Pete Buttigieg was on television trying to defend the Biden record. on CNBC, and they pointed out the lack of charging stations in America despite this massive push. Listen to Buttigieg.
Under the Inflation Reduction Act, $7.5 billion for building these charging stations. The latest information, 8 have been built with the $7.5 billion that had been allocated. You're supposed to get to 500,000 of these charging stations by 2030. What is really the problem with? Have you looked at that and figured out why?
Oh yeah, no, that's on track. So we're at about 190,000 publicly available charging stations in the U.S. That's approximately double what the level was when President Biden came in. The issue, though, is that there are some gaps in the market, ones that are just not going to be built by the private sector that's been building the construction of those chargers to date. That's why the legislation provided for funding to do federally supported chargers that are intended to be online before 2030.
Don't you love that he's playing a 3-card Monte there? We got 100-some-odd thousand, but only 7 have been built with the inflation. The rest were private sector. The private sector did it more quickly and efficiently. The government has spent $40 billion to get 7 chargers. It's what the environmentalists want. Deep inefficiencies, wrecking the economy along the way. You know, banks out there are they're having trouble too. Old Glory Bank, though, is not. It's growing. It's by conservatives, for conservatives. Old Glory Bank literally is my bank of record. I have my checking account there. I have my savings account there. And I love doing business with them because, one, I know I never have to worry about some progressive trying to cancel my bank account. I know that I can use my debit card tomorrow. If I want to go up to my buddies at True Precision and buy a gun from them, I can use my debit card. And the bank is not going to tell me, that's a gun. You're not allowed to buy it, because Old Glory Bank, they're conservatives. They believe in free speech. They believe in the Second Amendment. I got a friend of mine who runs a gun operation, and he's moving his bank account to him because he knows they're not going to cancel him, like the very big national bank decided to do because he's a gun operator. They're for conservatives. They're by conservatives. They operate a bank that's headquartered out of Oklahoma. They've turned it into an online nationwide bank. They have no fee checking. They have no fee savings. You develop a relationship with them even though they're online. You can do mortgages. You can do loans, auto loans, you name it. They'll take care of you. Old Glory Bank, they are my bank. They can be your bank as well. Remember, FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. By the way, if your kid needs a checking account, even though it's online, you can deposit cash at the bank. So if your kid needs a safe place to put their money instead of under the bed or in a jar, oldglorybank.com. You can get a custodial account for your kid, no fee checking, no fee savings for your kid. Oldglorybank.com. Again, member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply.
He'll do the research and give it to you straight. Eric Erickson is live every weekday.
250 in the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Traffic troopers telling me about a new crash. Connector 7585 northbound up around 17th Street, exit 251. Right now it's over in a right center lane, causing delays through downtown and midtown. This report brought to you by the Hartford Small and Business Insurance. The Hartford Small Business Insurance offers insurance solutions to fit your needs. Learn more about the Hartford Small Business Insurance and why over 1 million small business owners trust them. Visit thehartford.com/smallbusiness. I'm Veronica Harrell, WS 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Thank you, Jesus.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 5.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1, those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2, we now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3,
when can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. Over the past 30 years, we've seen countless lives change for the better and health issues greatly improved, if not completely resolved, by customers changing their diets, starting with real bread. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable solution for your family that can change your lives. For various customers, we've seen cholesterol levels drop 85 to 100 points in just 1 month, blood sugar stabilized, anemia corrected, and hundreds of stories of warts going away. In one case, as many as 500 warts gone in just 2.5 weeks. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. Let us help you take the first steps to better health. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
You're ready for a new deck, but don't know where to start. You can DIY, use an unlicensed chuck in a truck, an overpriced luxury designer, or you can choose us. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and we do decks differently. We build beautiful, high-end decks at a reasonable price with lots of options. We're licensed and insured. We'll work with the materials you choose and stay within your budget. Call Nelson Exteriors for an extraordinary deck renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hello, my friends. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. I got some other news to bring you up to speed on. The Department of Justice has indicted an Alaskan resident named Panos Anastasiou for making over 400 violent threats against 6 Supreme Court justices. They don't say which 6 justices. I wonder which 6. The indictment doesn't say, but according to FEC records, he made 82 donations to Act Blue, which is the left-wing online fundraising portal, the latest of which was July 25th. Also, the guy who wanted to kill Donald Trump was an Act Blue donor as well. And yet they want to continue to tell us about how the right wing is violent. It's the right that's violent. It's not the left. They're just lovable, harmless fuzzballs on the left. It's the right we need to be worried about. Sure doesn't seem to be the case these days. It sure seems like the progressive left in this country continues to grow more and more violent. Floyd Lee Corkins wants to shoot up the Family Research Center. He's a counsel. He's an MSNBC watcher. James Hodgkinson wants to mass assassinate Republican members of Congress. He's an MSNBC viewer. You got the 2 different people who one did and one wanted to take shots at Donald Trump. One, they claim they don't know his motive. They're both crazy. I mean, these are all crazy people, but they're crazy on the left. We know the latest guy who wanted to kill Donald Trump really was feeding off the left-wing attacks on Donald Trump as a threat to democracy and the like. all the Democratic rhetoric. And the Democrats are like, he's getting what he deserves. He is a threat to democracy. And so naturally people are freaked out, and it's him that's doing it to himself. It's not us. It's not us. By the way, if we don't stop him, the country is destroyed, and he's the second coming of Hitler. But don't blame us. Don't blame us. It's him, not us. I mean, that's what they're doing here. As it becomes more and more obvious, there is not this mass assassination group on the right going out and trying to shoot up the left. Here's the thing, though. I can see it coming. Some crazy, insane person on the right is going to look at this and say, we've had two people try to take out Donald Trump. We've had James Hodgkin. We've had Floyd Lee Corkins. We've had all these other crazy, insane leftists. You know what? I'm going to go mete out justice for the right. Insane person. When that happens, the media is going to overwhelmingly blame Republicans for it, overwhelmingly blame Republican rhetoric for it. They'll never hold their own side accountable. It's like this ProPublica story where the media seeded the lies about Georgia's abortion law. A woman believed the lies that the AJC and CNN and everyone else reported, and she didn't get help and she died, and it's the Republicans' fault. It's always the Republicans' fault. That's why so many people no longer care anything about what the media says, but that's also why so many grifters on the right can take advantage of it, since you don't believe the accountability of the media anymore. It's a dangerous game we're playing here.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I don't know if you are receiving them, but more and more people are, where you get an offer from a bank